Sean Bonner, Mason Guyland, Craver, were all two-way starters. So we do have an experienced group coming back. It's a very talented group, but there are holes to fill. If you want to talk about our offense, our probable starting lineup for this Friday, in the backfield we have Lenny Gilmer, who took over for Guyland at the Woodland Hills game last year, so he's fairly well experienced at that particular position. We're backfield by committee as usual. You know, we'll have four people back there. Victor Strader and Dwayne Thompson are certainly names that the Penn Hills fans know right now. They did very well last year. Garrett Livingston was our fullback for 90% of the time last year. He is returning back there. And one of the new faces on offense, and I'll talk more about him on defense, is Nick Brown, who has stepped it up. He's a junior. He's playing very well. So the backfield is pretty well set. There's a little bit of depth there. Dave Zakia has done a nice job as our backup quarterback right now, along with all his special teams duties. So we're in solid shape in the backfield on offense. If you move to the offensive line, I will get into a little bit later. Depth is a major problem for us, but if you're talking about the offensive line, depth is certainly not a problem. Maybe, possibly the best offensive line I've had since I've been at Penn Hills. Our starting five right now: Ted Fitzpatrick, a senior at the right tackle spot; Damon Gibson, a senior at the right guard spot; Jared Smith, who blew out his knee last year, if you recall, in practice, is back at the center and doing a great job there; left guard Mike White, left tackle Kevin McCoy. That's a solid group across the front there from tackle to tackle. The problem is they're all seniors. Backups, Scott Carlavan and Eric Longo have done a great job at the tackles. Corey Connors and Sean Buterbaugh at the guards. Randy Parker at center. So we're solid across the offensive line. The 10 of them are good.
We talked about a lot of the kids coming back and playing again. You're looking at a lot of kids Friday night. We're going to see Troy Nunes at quarterback. It's hard to believe before we saw him play last year that he's only going to be a sophomore this year. But the big names is Meinhardt. The big name is Meinhardt. You want to talk a little bit about the Meinhardt brothers that we're going to see Friday night?
Well, I don't think much has to be said that hasn't been in the media. Both the Meinhardt twins, Jason and Brian,
yes.
Meinhardt are already signed to a Division I school. They signed at Pitt. They wanted to stay local. They will be facing our two best linemen, two of the better linemen that Penn Hills has ever had, and the media has really latched on to this, quote, game within a game. The Meinhardt will play center for Butler. Damon Gibson, who you will talk to later on in the show, is our All-American nose guard. The other Meinhardt will play the right guard position on offense and will go against Mike White, our other potential All-American. So that matchup within a matchup is quite a little treat for the football fan that knows what's going on.
Talk about this being a great matchup with some big kids who are going to obviously go to Division I schools next fall. This is a non-conference game. You have the next 3 weeks. You have Butler Friday, then you have North Hills, and then Seneca Valley. Obviously, you want to win, but at what cost?
Well, that's a tough question right there. Obviously, we want to win. We don't want to. Anytime we go out onto the field, we want to perform well and play well. We don't want to lose the game. Our depth situation, I mentioned the offensive line and backfield are two solid positions. We have right now at this early date absolutely no depth at any other position. Our tight end, split end, and flanker spots are very thin. Our entire defense, people talk about the great linebackers, Ronnie Graham and Garrett Livingston, but there's nobody behind them right now. They talk about Mike White and Damon Gibson's abilities and B.J. DiNatale and Jeremy George, their abilities there, but right now we have no depth there, and Coach Gillespie in the secondary is extremely concerned because there's only 5 people there. So, I think some years you approach your preseason games one way, other years you approach it another way, and our biggest concern this year is not getting anybody hurt. So win the game, yes. Win at all costs, no. A very successful Friday night for me against Butler would be to have everybody healthy and win the game.
Of course, those who have followed the Indians the past few years, especially last year, they know what injuries to key people can do. In fact, the early injuries last year is probably the biggest reason why the Indians probably were knocked out of the playoffs last year.
Well, I think so. It's got us gun shy. The hot weather had a lot to do with it, but we went in shorts and shoulder pads quite a bit during camp in the first 2 2 weeks of practice because we were just afraid to get somebody hurt. These young men are so valuable to us on both sides of the ball and on the special teams because the younger kids haven't developed to the point where we're comfortable with them yet. We just can't afford to get anybody hurt, and we need some luck.
Now, as years passed, it seems to be a Penn tradition to have good quality running backs and have depth in the backfield position. So we know that Neil Gordon is going to run the football until there isn't any turf left anywhere. But the big question is, with Ronnie Graham and Hans DiNatale and the like, we're going to see the football in the air at all this year.
I don't think I have a choice. I'm an Andy Urbanek disciple, and I'm proud to be an Andy Urbanek disciple, the former coach at Penn Hills who had great success. And Andy felt that controlling the line of scrimmage and running the ball down people's throats was time-consuming, less chance of turnovers. You took the ball away from their offense, and Andy Urbanek didn't care if he won games 48-0 or 3-0 as long as there was a W at the end of the night. And being Andy's first assistant for all that time, I've learned that philosophy, and there's a lot of Andy in me. The only problem is that the people that I am coaching against, the Jack McCurrys and Terry Henrys, and Art Bernardi is the assistant back at Butler now running the defense, George Novak, George Smith from McKeesport. They know darn well that that's my philosophy, and they're going to bring those 8 people up onto the line of scrimmage and stop my running game. So am I going to throw the ball because I love to throw the ball? No, absolutely not. I love to run the ball. I'm going to throw the ball because teams are going to force me to do that, and if I don't balance my offense, then I'm going to have problems.
You talked about the other coaches that you'll face this year, and obviously there's some great coaches, and they prepare well, and they know the Indians are going to run the football very well, but they also look at the other side of the football as well as the Indians' defense. And you talked about your incredible line and your skill at linebacking. Do you expect that you're going to see a lot of teams try to put the ball in the air as much as possible to try to take advantage of perhaps the secondary, or even just to get away from your line and your linebackers?
Well, I think they're going to try to do that. But right now, I don't see any teams that are ready to do that. Last year, when the Bolger boy was a quarterback at Central Catholic, I saw a big-time threat right there. I don't know about George Novak's new quarterback. George Smith does not throw the ball. Plum has a tackle. You know, when you throw the ball, you still have to contend with the pass rush. You have to have enough time to be able to get that ball off. And Mike and Demond and Jeremy and those kids have done a great job in providing the pass rush. So I think teams are going to find out that they can't run the ball against us, and hopefully we're stopping from passing too. Tim Timko is our defensive coordinator, Larry Gillespie, our secondary coach, and they're pretty squared away people. They know how the other teams can hurt us and what they're going to try to do to us. They break down films for countless hours, and I think they're ready. I have confidence in them.
The WPIAL has made some rule changes this year, which may affect some strategy as games start to wind down. Among them are that now, instead of games strictly ending in a tie at the end of 48 minutes, now there's an overtime. How would that come into perhaps play?
Well, it certainly restructures your practice plans. More of an, obviously you practice that goal line offense, goal line defense, but now you're going to win a game or lose a game by that goal line offense and goal line defense. So you need to be a little bit more squared away in that situation and spend more time if that situation would arise. Now, in my 9 years of coaching as the head coach and the 10 that I spent with Andy, we only had, I think, 4 ties. So it's not something that's going to come up week in and week out. It's definitely a strategy. You're aware they give you they flip a coin. You obviously want to win the toss. I want to win the toss and go defense first, and the other team will have the ball on the 10-yard line with 4 downs to score whatever they can score, be it a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, 1-point conversion, or a field goal. Then the ball comes back to me on a 10-yard line, and I have to beat them or lose the game. If we would both score 7-7, we do it all over again until a winner is determined. It's a terrible situation or a terrible feeling to tie after working so hard all week to win a game. I don't particularly care for the way they were doing it. I would be more in favor of a fifth quarter sudden death type thing. But, to be able to utilize the entire package, your punting game, your defense, and your offense. But it's not the first time I've disagreed with the WPIL and PIA, and I can accept that.
It's ironic you mentioned that there's so few ties that you've seen. One of the ties was a few years ago against Butler in the WPIL AAA championship game.
Yes. A tie with Butler in the AAA championship at Mount Lebanon Stadium. That was a two-part game. We played one Friday night and had to come back Saturday afternoon. The temperatures were minus 20 degrees. The wind chill knocked out all the power in Mount Lebanon. We had to come back the next day. Butler beat us 7-0 the first night. We come back and beat them 7-0 the second night and ended up in the 7-7 tie. We played North Hills when Andy was coaching, and I forget what year it was, 78, maybe, 78, 79. We played North Hills in Valley Stadium and had to go to the overtime procedure, and we were fortunate enough to win that game, too. So I think it's something that's important and has to be done. I just don't like the way we're doing it.
And, of course, it may help you, though, once you do get to the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, which is your goal this year, obviously the goal is to play on the turf at Three Rivers Stadium. You have a couple of kids here with you that will hopefully help you get to Three Rivers Stadium.
Well, as you know, and the people know, we will interview a couple of our seniors every week in our coaches show. And tonight, I'm starting off with two of them that I'm extremely proud of. Start the show off very well. Two young men you'll be having the opportunity to talk to are Jeremy George. What does Jeremy George do for our team? What has he done for our team the last 3 years? Long snaps. He's on the punt return. He's on the kickoff team. He's our starting defense. He plays split end. He plays tight end. Jeremy is one of those players that if Jeremy would get down to an injury, we have to find 8 replacements. Great attitude, hard worker, and so forth. The other man, I don't know, I'm not sure if this stool's big enough for him, but it's our All-American defensive tackle, defensive nose guard, offensive guard, Damon Gibson, 6'4", 320 pounds, probably runs about a 4.7 40, incredibly strong, great agility. He's a big-time player. He's been offered scholarships by 6 or 7 schools already in the area, Syracuse, Penn State, Pitt, Ohio State, and Michigan, and so forth. So he's a big-timer, and these are 2 kids that are going to take us to Three Rivers if we're going to get there.
Well, hopefully we will. And that'll wrap up Week 1 edition of the Coach's Corner for 1995. We are at Jay Clark's in the Penn Hill Shopping Center. And coming up next, we will speak with seniors Jeremy George and Damon Gibson. Jay Clark's in the Penn Hill Shopping Center talking to this week's Seniors of the Week. Big number 33, Jeremy George to my immediate left. And on my far left, number 65, Damon Gibson. Gentlemen, seniors this year. I'll start with you, Jeremy. What are you looking forward to in your senior year at Penn Hill?
Well, I'm looking forward to going undefeated and making it to Three Rivers. That's basically it.
Any predictions on who you'll play?
Any predictions? Upper St. Clair probably has a good team. Maybe them or North Allegheny. Other than that, we're going to destroy everyone.
Damon, what are your thoughts?
Just about the same thing. I would like to go to Three Rivers this year, but we got some games to go through first. But I think our team can do it. I know we can be undefeated just like Jameson.
Jeremy, looking back on what you've done at Penn Hills High School, anything that stands out as being something you'll remember most or something you'll want to forget?
Something to remember is Central Catholic game last year. I played really well. I got a Special Teams Player of the Week, and that felt really good. Made good snaps on the long snapper and that, and I did real good at defensive end.
That's just something that perhaps you'll try to do as well this year, and
yeah,
something you really remember.
Definitely. We just got to take it one game at a time, and right now it's Butler. Focusing on that. Hopefully we'll come out with a W.
Looking forward to your senior year. Anything that you remember most going into this year?
Going into this year, I think the thing I remember most is last year's first game against Butler when I got a chance to go head on with the Minehearts, which is this week's matchup. And I got the defensive player of the game. And for that first week, I was leading the team in tackles. It was a pretty, it was a really nice thing to do, seeing as how, Ronnie Graham came through at the end and was the leading tackler on the team. So it was pretty fun for me.
Talking about the Minehearts, handled them pretty well last year. I think Butler only had about 24 yards in total offense. They were in the Post-Gazette a couple of weeks ago, and they talked a little bit of trash on you and Mike White. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they made a few comments about how they wanted us to bring it on, that they could handle us and everything. But everybody in Penn Hills knows that it's not going to be like that. So when we go up there, we're going to bring it on, and me and Mike's going to handle them again this year. And so is the rest of the team. So.
Jeremy, when you get in and you play defense, a lot of the offenses are preparing for Ronnie Graham, Mike White, Damon Gibson. How does that make things? Does that make things any easier for you to be able to do your job?
Yes and no. Defensive end's a real hard position. We have to take on lead blocks on the backs, on the powers. And if we don't have our outside leverage, we get screened on, even taken out of the games. It happened to me last year. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. I'm going to smack them pretty hard.
Well, hopefully you'll both enjoy your senior years. What are you looking forward to after graduation?
Well, after graduation, I plan on going to college. I'm not sure right now. Wake Forest is giving me letters and that in the mail, showing interest in me, but we'll see.
Anywhere in particular you would like to go?
Somewhere Division I, a big school, lots of fans, big hype, everything.
The whole college experience, huh? Now, Mr. Gibson, have you received any interest in any colleges?
Yeah, I've had a lot of interest in different schools. But I don't know, it's so hard right now to try to make up my mind on where I want to go and where I want to play football. But it'll definitely be a Division I school with a lot of hype and a lot of fans and everything, because I like that sort of thing.
I'm going to ask this for the both of you. You're both talking about going to Division I schools. We'll start with you, Jeremy. What are you looking for in a school as far as, obviously you want to go and you want to play some football, but what are you looking for as far as educational?
Educationally, maybe in business or something. I don't know, no idea.
We'll say this
yeah, undecided probably for first year and see how it is. See what the school's like, basically about maybe it's a good business school or something like that. Maybe something in business.
And Damon, what do you think about others in football?
Wherever I go to school at, I want them to have a good department in family counseling, because that's what I want to major in, and I want a chance to help different people that are less fortunate. I like helping people, and wherever I go, hopefully they'll have a good department and that kind of thing besides football.
So we're going to have Jeremy, the businessman, and Damon, the psychologist. That'll help you read some offenses and defense, I guess. Are you leaning anywhere towards any schools? Anywhere in particular you would like to go?
Well, it seems like a lot of schools are offering me scholarships and everything, but right now the school that's showing the most interest and giving the most pull is Pitt right now, and there's a lot of good things with Pitt. Staying home, playing in front of the same people. The people in Penn Hills can come down to the games and everything, but me and my parents are still weighing our options, and we'll make our decision. When we do, Penn Hills area will be the first people to know.
Obviously, these aren't decisions that you would want to make in haste. But best of luck to the both of you. Perhaps see you at Pitt next year. Perhaps you, Jeremy, at Wake Forest. Of course, with Wake Forest, we'd have to see you on the ESPN highlights. Damon has the theme down pat. We'll do that in the rock video later on in the season. To my far left, Damon Gibson, and to my near left, Jeremy George, Seniors of the Week. Hopefully we'll be talking to them again on the turf at Clear River Stadium. So that's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Coach's Corner from the J. Clark Sports Bar and Grill in the Penn Hills Shopping Center. I'm Bill Navari. Coming up, Week 1, the Penn Hills Indians and the Butler Golden Tornado.
Penn Hills Indians football 1995. From Butler, Pennsylvania, tonight the Penn Hills Indians take on the Golden Tornado of Butler High School. A very pleasant good evening to you, along with my broadcast partner Bob Orquist. I'm Bill Navari. And Bob, tonight the Penn Hills Indians travel here into Butler for the opening game of 1995 to take on a traditionally tough opening season opponent, the Butler Golden Tornado. And tonight we have an extra added matchup with the line between Damon Gibson, Mike White, and Brian and Jason Meinhardt of Butler High School.
Well, indeed, an intriguing matchup. It's kind of the tradition, as you mentioned, Penn Hills playing Butler. It's not an easy game by any means. A lot of coaches and a lot of teams will have easier games, but Penn Hills traditionally plays the Butler Golden Tornado, and you cannot help but focus on the interior line play. Mike White, Damon Gibson for the Penn Hills Indians, both on the preseason Fabulous 22 list, both receiving raves from scouts, and both receiving a lot of attention from the college ranks. For the Butler Golden Tornado, you mentioned the Meinhardts, Jason and Brian and Meinhardts. Well, they're not receiving any attention from colleges anymore because both of them are going to Pitt. But you're talking between those four, almost 1,200 pounds are going to go head-to-head tonight on that field.
That's about the weight of a Volkswagen if you put these four kids together. But obviously with the attention to the line play, you're going to have to think that the Penn Hills Indians running backs are going to have a great game tonight. Victor Strader, Hoggy, Livingston, and Dwayne Thompson, they're going to have to get the ball upfield for the Indians. But also on the other side of the football, you know the Penn Hills Indians have great linebacking and a great defensive line. Tonight, the Penn Hills Indians secondary is going to have to come through, especially with the great sophomore quarterback like Troy Nunes.
Troy Nunes started every game last year as a freshman for Butler, comes into tonight's game with that much more experience. Penn Hills, it's pretty much always what they're going to do. They're going to try to beat you with defense, and they're going to try to run the football. That has been their game plan for the past umpteen years, and that's what they're going to continue to do tonight. But it might be a different look from Butler because of they have returned pretty much all the starters they had last year. So second year for Sam Albert at the helm of the Golden Tornado. So Penn Hills defensively, they're going to get more looks than Butler's going to come in knowing they're going to have to try to stop the run.
Of course, it has to be exciting for Butler and, of course, for Penn Hills fans because they're going to be able to see Troy Nunes at least 2 more times because he can't give up his freshman or senior eligibility. But tonight, obviously, it's going to be the team that makes the fewest mistakes, the fewest turnovers, the fewest penalties is probably going to have to come through on this game.
Well, always in the early season and in the exhibition games, we want to call them before you get into your conference schedule, it always comes down to mistakes, and especially the opening night of the season. You want to try to limit those mistakes. You've had some live action, but scrimmages, and this is the first real action both of these teams will see.
So sit back, relax. Coming your way next, the Penn Hills Indians and the Butler Golden Tornado opening the 1995 season right here on Unreal Productions. Doing the kickoff duties for the Penn Hills Indians tonight. The Penn Hills Indians moving right to left on your TV screen. White jerseys, gold helmets, gold pants with the red socks, red numbers on the jerseys, and as Bob mentioned, the Butler Golden Tornado looking very much like the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Down to our left, number 5 is Mike Tack, and of course number 24 is J.T. Wilson. And there's the signal to put the ball in play. And there's the opening kickoff for the 1995 season. The kickoff goes to J.T. Wilson at the 8-yard line, looking for some running room. He cuts back across the field. He got out to about the 15-yard line, and the Indians end up making the tackle back around the 12, and that's where the Golden Tornado will start 1995.
Offensively for Butler, they'll be led by sophomore quarterback Troy Nunes, who started every game last year as a freshman. Jason Bailey, Eli Barkley, and David Rock round out the backfield. And Butler is a team that was very young last year. They struggled through the season. They should be that much better experience-wise this year.
For those folks who saw the Butler Golden Tornado and the Penn Hills Indians last year, interesting to note that the Butler Golden Tornado graduated nobody from the team last year. They are all 11 starters are returning. Wishbone backfield for the Butler Golden Tornado. Second man through, that's number 21, Kurt Wittig. Wittig picks up a couple, not much. And Corey Connors brought Wittig down. A pickup of about 2, brings up 2nd and 8 for Butler.
Butler starts off with a basic full house backfield, and that's the one that gives you a lot of options when you're running the football. Either hand off to the up man, the second man through, or you could pull it in and run the option That time they handed off to the second man through. It was Wittig, and as you mentioned, Connors with a stop.
The Indians did see the wishbone last year against McKeesport, but Butler in no way has the speed that McKeesport had last season. Troy Nunes, number 18, under center. This time it's a second man through, number 33, David Rock. Rock gets out near the 25-yard line. Ball comes loose, but the officials rule the ball played dead. Victor Strader was in on the tackle. And it looks like it will be awfully close to a Butler first down.
What happened there, got to give Rock some credit. He was able to break the initial tackle attempt by Jeremy George, who got to the outside, and he's picked up very close to the first down yardage. And that just shows you it's important for that man who gets the first penetration to get a piece of the ball carrier so he can at least slow him up so the pursuit can get there. And then this time Rock was able to elude George.
So the measurement is on the near side of the field. And the officials say that it is a Butler first down. So with 10:26 to go here in the first quarter, still a scoreless game. Butler Golden Tornado on the opening possession of this football game. And it takes them just 2 plays to pick up the necessary 10 yards.
In the matchup we talked about a little bit in the pregame, Brian Meinhardt is the center. He wears number 50, and he's going head-to-head single one-on-one coverage against Damon Gibson, the nose tackle for Penn Hills.
Bailey, Wittig, and Rock in the backfield. Nunes is going to throw the football. He's under pressure by Ronnie Graham, and B.J. DiNatale ends up with a little pitch out. And the ball is caught by Corey Hurley on a little bit of an underhand pass, but it's good enough to pick up of about 5 yards. DiNatale and Graham with some nice pressure, but give Nunes credit. He was able to get the ball out to Corey Hurley.
Could not square up his body either. I'm going to give him credit for that, showing much poise for a sophomore, and kind of shuffled it out there, and it wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Pick up of 5. We'll give him 6 yards on that completion.
We'll call it second and a short 4. But again, the Indians did have nice pressure on the play. So now, lone man in the backfield. Nunes looks like there's a mix-up on the play. There's a snap, quick snap.
They're calling it a completion and a fumble.
The ball to Jason Bailey. No! And the ball is rolled completed out to the 44-yard line. Is moving like that by Nunes legal?
As long as he stays parallel to the line of scrimmage, it's a little bit of trickery from head coach Sam Albert, and the coach is thinking it should have been an incompletion. They rolled a fumble and out of bounds, and it's a first down for Butler on the flea flicker.
Again, the full house backfield. Nunes under center. Wittig, Rock, and Bailey, and Nunes calls timeout. Didn't like what he sees. Of course, the big test tonight will be for the Penn Hills Indians secondary. With the line and the line backing of Penn Hills, I'm sure you're going to see teams try to put the ball in the air as much as they can. And when you have a quarterback like Troy Nunes who can put the ball in the air, expect Butler to be throwing quite a bit.
I'll give a little bit of credit, too, also to Dwayne Thompson on the coverage on that play, because it's very easy for a defensive back to get suckered in on a flea flicker like that. And so Thompson was out there, obviously, in time enough to cause a fumble after Nunes made the reception. So he didn't break wide open for Butler, and because of the good coverage by Dwayne Thompson, who was single coverage. As a matter of fact, he was the only defensive back and the only Penn Hills Indian in that area.
I don't know if you caught it whenever Nunes was coming parallel on to the line of scrimmage,
he had his arms.
Motioning that he didn't know what was going on. You saw Sam Albert on the sideline motioning as well. Again, part of the charade of that flea flicker. So now 1st and 10, Butler on their own 44-yard line. 8:47 to go here in the first quarter. Again, Rock, Wittig, and Jason Bailey in the Butler backfield. And it's Jason Bailey up the middle. Bailey with some nice running room, crosses over the 50-yard line. And it seems right now the Meinhardts are getting the better of Damon Gibson and Mike White. So now Butler crosses into Penn Hill's territory for the first time this evening. Butler still on its opening drive of the football game. Approaching 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. We have 8:12 on a running clock. And again, 3 backs. It's Bailey in the middle. Number 33, David Rock, and number 21 is Kurt Wittig. Little mix-up, and it's Wittig in the backfield. This time he gets knocked back in the Butler Golden Tornado territory, and this time Damon Gibson got the better of the Minehearts. Like Damon and Ronnie Graham, excuse me.
And also some penetration from Corey Connors. This time it was a stunt on the line of scrimmage. Gibson, from his nose tackle position, looped around towards the tackle, and the tackle pinched in. And that time it fooled Butler, and it went for a loss of about a yard, maybe a yard and a half.
So twin receivers to the near side now for the Butler Golden Tornado. J.T. Wilson, number 24, and number 20 is Kurt. There's a quick pitch out. That's Corey Hurley. Number 24 is J.T. Wilson, excuse me. So Corey Hurley able to pick up the Butler Golden Tornado first down, and Butler going to the hurry-up offense. This time with twin receivers to the far side, number 20, Adam Ward, and number 24, J.T. Wilson. Jones appears audible at the line of scrimmage. Wittig and Rock in the backfield. This time it's Rock. Rock with the loose handle on the football, but he's able to hold on. He's getting close to the 35-yard line. We'll mark that to 36. He'll pick up about 4 yards. And it looks like Butler is going to stay in the hurry-up offense mode. This time Nunes is going to run the option, and it's Wittig around the left side. Wittig with a lot of running room. He picks up the first down and a few yards more. Victor Strader with a nice stick on Wittig, but it's enough for a Butler Golden Tornado first down near the 25-yard line. We'll pick up about 9 yards on that play.
And a nice run by Wittig and a good job by Nunes to make the decision. You cannot fault B.J. DiNatale. His man, his job on the pitch is to take the quarterback, and you need to contain men out there, and unfortunately for Penn Hills, there was none. It is the 5th first down of the opening drive for the Butler Golden Tornado.
Now this time, Butler slows things down a little bit. Into the standard huddle. And again, it's twin receivers to the near side. And a flag goes down. See any movement on the line?
I didn't, but apparently the referees did, the officials, and it's a legal procedure against Butler.
They'll mark off 5 yards back to the 36-yard line. Or excuse me, from the 26 to the 31. It'll still be first down, but first and 15 with 6:05 to go here in the first quarter. Along with Bob Workwith, I'm Bill Navarre. Great to have you along opening night of the 1995 Penn Hills Indian football season. Don't forget, next Friday night, North Hills Indians come into town, led by LeVar Arrington, the Super Junior. It'll most likely be the fans' last opportunity to catch LeVar Arrington at Andrew J. Ross Stadium. They certainly want to make that worth your while to get out Friday night to see the North Hills Indians. But tonight, the Indians must focus on the Golden Tornado. Troy Nunes, the sophomore quarterback, under center. For the Indians to bring it all. There goes the flag down. It should be a delay of game.
Neil, he was coming back for it.
Could possibly a delay of game against Butler.
And
Nunes took too much time.
Butler took too much time. So right now the
Indians up on the line of scrimmage, and obviously an attempt to confuse the sophomore quarterback, and it did well, but he took too much time.
You noticed Ronnie Graham, a lot of movement on the other side of the line.
The play didn't work. They stacked it in, and they were all close in together. It's usually a little bit of a gap between the linemen. There weren't any with all 9 of the Indians on the line of scrimmage. Look for them to do it again.
So now it's first and 20. For the Golden Tornado. There comes the option this way. Nunes looking for the pitch out. He does get it to Rock. Rock on the near side. Gets across the 30-yard line. Down to about the 29. We'll call it a pickup of about 7. 2nd and 13, we'll call it now for the Butler Golden Tornado.
And this time they ran the option to the near side of the field, and again it worked. And it's all relies on the quarterback. It's his decision whether to keep the ball, turn it upfield, or pitch it out. Second time that Nunes has made the right decision, and a gain of 7 for David Rock.
Butler, give them credit. They're doing a nice job to play away from the strength of the Penn Hills Indian defense, of course, being the line and the middle linebacking, especially of Ronnie Graham.
And they're doubling out is what they're doing is they're letting Graham flow towards the play, and they're coming down and setting up sort of a pick to knock him out of the way.
Goes Nunes, this time it's Wittig, and Wittig goes nowhere. He's stopped in the backfield by Damon Gibson, who's able to fight off the blocking of the Meinhardt twins, get into the backfield, and he'll bring Wittig down for a 3-yard loss.
We talked about the size on the line of scrimmage. Butler is one of the few lines in the WPL that can match up evenly almost with Penn Hills. One of their tackles, Neil McConnell, we didn't talk about. He goes 295, so you got the Meinhardt twins, McConnell at 295, and Corey Hurley, the big boy tight end, he goes 205.
Nunes rolling to the near side. He's under pursuit. Pitches the ball out. And the ball was caught by Jason Bailey for a short pickup down to about the 23-yard line, well short of a Butler first down. It'll be 4th, we'll call it about 8. For a long 7 yards. Interesting to see what Sam Albert does. Looks as if he's going to go for it. My guess is an option to the far side.
Just a little bit long for field goal range unless you have an outstanding kicker. And if you give the ball up here, it's not too bad a field position to turn it over on 4th down. 4th and 7, as you said.
Nunes is looking across for Bailey down the middle. The ball's almost picked off by Victor Strader at the 5. So the Penn Hills Indians hold, the defense holds, and they'll take over 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line with 3:18 to go here in the first quarter, and definitely a lot of ball control by the Butler Golden Tornado in that drive.
A good opening drive. They take off 8 minutes and 42 seconds to go from their own 14 to the Penn Hills 23. A couple penalties set back their progress, but Penn Hills with a nice defensive play by Victor Strader to knock that last pass away. Butler was good on their first 4 passing attempts. We'll see what the Penn Hills offense can do now.
Lenny Gilmer, the quarterback, in the backfield. Garrett Livingston, the up back. Dwayne Thompson in the back. And it's Dwayne Thompson with some running room around the outside coming to the near side of the field.
But they're not checked all the way down.
Picks up about 7 yards. We'll call it about 8 yards to the 31. Bringing 2nd and 2, a long 2 for the Penn Hills Indians.
Offensively, you mentioned Thompson and Strader in the backfield. They will be in there a lot, as with Garrett Livingston. Len Gilmer, the quarterback. Dean Natale and Ronnie Graham are the split end and the tight end, and Damian Germany, the flanker. We'll get you the rest of the offensive line here in a second.
Germany just committed to spell Ronnie Graham, who went out on this play. Again, it's Dwayne Thompson. Thompson out close to the first down. Looks like he has enough for it. We'll call it a Penn Hills Indian first down.
We'll give him 3. Kevin McCoy is the 1 tackle. Corey Connors, the other tackle. Damon Gibson, Mike White are the guards, and Jared Smith is starting at center for the Penn Hills Indians. Gain of 3, and that's the initial first down for Penn Hills.
Again, number 28, Hoggy Livingston. Number 22, Dwayne Thompson. Lenny Gilmer, the quarterback. Damian Germany wide to the far side of the field. Lenny Gilmer again goes to Thompson. There's a couple of tackles, but struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage. Thompson does a nice job to gain about half a yard. So we'll call it 2nd and 10 for the Indians. First quarter winding down, 2.5 to go.
Dwayne Thompson is smallish at 5'9" and only 170, but he has kind of deceptive strength and deceptive speed. He's able to duck low and spin and worm his way out of some tackles, as he did there. He was hit about 2 yards in the backfield and still almost picked up a yard back to the 35.
Indians now in split back formation. This is Hoggy Livingston's first rush of the season. And Livingston goes nowhere. Now it's interesting to see what the Indians will do on 3rd and 10. Indians are a team that wants to establish the running game before they go to the pass, but it was 3rd and 10. Expect Indians to put the ball into the air.
Well, you've heard Neil Gordon say it many times over his career as head coach of the Penn Hills Indians. If we have to throw the ball no times, that's still too many. Penn Hills will run until you stop it.
Dina Talley in Germany wide to the far side of the field. Ronnie Graham on the near side. Livingston and Thompson in the backfield. And there's Lenny Gilmer rolling to his right. He has under pursuit. Gilmer does a nice job to get around the outside, but he'll be brought down well short of a Penn Hills Indian first down. Nice pursuit that time by Evan Schnurr of the Butler Golden Tornado. We'll give Gilmer about 3 yards on the play. But now it's fourth down for the Indians. And obviously they're going to punt the ball from deep in their own territory. Well, not too deep. They're at the 38.5-yard line. Called to 39. And Dave Zakia back for the punting duties for the Penn Hills Indians. This wouldn't be a surprise, really, if, although it is a fourth and a long six. But the Indians perhaps fake a punt, but they don't. Zakia gets the ball. Nice snap and a nice kick by Zakia. J.T. Wilson lets the ball bounce in front of him. It gets a lateral bounce, and it goes out of bounds at the 27-yard line, where the Golden Tornado will take over with 39 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
You mentioned Zakia now punted last year. He takes on the added responsibility of the, the place-kicking duties. And as you mentioned, he's also one of the backup quarterbacks. That's why you mentioned the fake punt. But still too early, I think, to be calling that, especially with a 4th and 7, a 4th and long like that on your first punt of the season. But he got a good punt, used the sideline as an extra defender there. And Butler starts better field position than their first drive.
We'll see if the Indians make any defensive adjustments. Pitch back to Rock. Rock gets out to about the 30-yard line. Mike White and Garrett Livingston. Nice pursuit.
And
Nick Brown on the tackle.
Nick Brown and Jeremy George also with nice penetration. And Brown did a nice job to fight off his block. He was fighting with the blocker as Rock came running up, and he got his right arm out to slow him up as the pursuit caught up and held Rock to a gain of only 3.
Jeremy George, number 33, the left defensive end. Mike White, Damon Gibson, Corey Connors on the far side, B.J. DiNatale, all on the front line of scrimmage for the Penn Hills Indians. And that's the end of the first quarter of play for the 1995 season. And nobody yet to put the ball into the end zone. After one period of play, the Penn Hills Indians and the Butler Golden Tornado still scoreless here at Butler High School Stadium. From Butler High School Stadium, the Penn Hills Indians and Butler Golden Tornado scoreless here at the start of the second quarter. Butler Golden Tornado moving right to left on your TV screen with a 2nd and 7 from just inside their own 30-yard line. Troy Nunes, a sophomore quarterback. Split backs behind Nunes. Man in motion is Adam Ward. And Nunes looking to throw the football, looking downfield for J.T. Wilson. And the ball almost picked off by Dwayne Thompson, who had excellent position on the inside of J.T. Wilson.
He went step for step with J.T. Wilson to Dwayne Thompson, and he got to the ball first, made a diving try at the interception. And that's excellent coverage. I'm seeing Penn Hills with a little adjustment on the offensive or the defensive line. They've moved them on Gibson over. He's not directly over Meinhardt at center. He is kind of lined up against the tackle on the guard, which would be Mike George and Bob Urey on that side. So now he is actually drawing double team blocking. He's not one-on-one now with Meinhardt the center.
And with a 3rd and 7 facing the Butler Golden Tornado, they call a timeout to talk things over. They now have 1 timeout remaining here in the first half. That, of course, they have taken 2 thus far. Of course, that may come into play earlier. Then again, this is a non-conference game, Bob, and although you do want to win, if you do lose, this really has no bearing on the playoffs.
And you find it out. It looks good when you go into the postseason with a big 0, with a big donut in your L column. But it really has no bearing. You want to just get ready for that conference play, because you could theoretically, and it's happened a lot, you lose your first 3 games, and then if you win the next 7, obviously you're 7-0 in the conference, and you're shooting for the playoffs. It does have a little effect on seedings and And, of course, everyone wants that perfect undefeated season, as the McKeesport Tigers achieved last year. And that's everyone's goal. And like you said, when you start the year, everyone is their record is even.
The non-conference games, you more or less have 3 games to get things straightened out once you get into conference play.
And Penn Hills takes no easy task with their non-conference games. They play some tough ones. Butler every year. North Hills has been a traditional preseason rivalry, and it's been Seneca Valley the last couple of years.
Absolutely. The Penn Hills Indians ranked 4th in Quad A preseason. 2 weeks from now, they'll take on the 5th-ranked Seneca Valley Indians. And on a 3rd and 7 play, Butler calls the draw. And Jason Bailey gets close to the first down, but well short. Caught about 4th and a long 3 for the Golden Tornado, and it looks like they'll send in the punting unit.
Hey, watch the count. Don't let him go outside.
And of course, as we saw earlier, Sam Albert does have a bag of tricks, and he's not afraid to use them.
Okay, all right.
Thompson and Strader downfield to receive the kick. Jason Bailey with the kickoff, or with the punt, excuse me. The ball is caught by Strader. Strader looked for a moment like he wanted to pitch the ball back to Thompson.
I think
Probably
that
well, he didn't.
what happened was Thompson and Strader bumped into each other, and that turned Victor Strader around to look like he wanted to pitch the ball. One of those guys has to make the call and say, I got the ball. The other one has to block for him. A little bit of miscommunication there for the Indians.
It's a little bit like baseball. You have to call it. I got it, I got it.
And the other guy picks off the first special team defender down there for Butler, and they don't make the initial hit like they did there.
I formation for the Indians, Livingston and Thompson. And again, it's Thompson with some nice running room up the middle. Thompson crosses over the 40. That's about all the farther he'll go, but that's the largest pickup for the Indians so far in this football game. We'll give Thompson about 7 yards. I'll call it 6, 2nd and a long 4, short 4. For the Indians with some nice running by Dwayne Thompson.
Well, Butler changed up their defensive front, and Penn Hills had the correct play called, just a straight dive off the left tackle, and Thompson with the speed was able to pop through that hole before the Butler defensive line could realize what happened, and a nice spin move to pick up an extra yard at the end.
Jeremy George wide to the far side of the field. Dina Talley and Graham on this side. And again, it's Thompson who does some nimble running up the middle. This time picks up maybe half a yard, probably even lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 3rd and about 4 for the Penn Hills Indians. You get to see Victor Strader in the backfield. And speak of the devil, here he comes now, number 21. Indians need to cross the 44-yard line to pick up the first down. Dina Talley tight end near side. Ronnie Graham wide to the left. I formation with Strader and Livingston. And it's Victor Strader with some running room around the left side. Strader picks up the first down, and he crosses into Butler Golden Tornado territory, where he's brought down at the 46. First time tonight the Indians get into Butler territory.
14 yards on the pickup for Victor Strader, right on cue. We've yet to see him in the game. You call for him. He comes in with a play, calls his own number, and he picks up the big gainer on the off tackle. Penn Hills was looking maybe to go to the outside, but they went with the straight dive off tackle and a big burst of speed for Strader. Second first down of the first half for the Indians.
Again, it's Victor Strader. This time Strader picks up about 2 yards before he's brought down. It appears as though the Indians are trying to keep away from Meinhardt's side.
They are. They're not running up the middle either. What they're running is mostly off the tackles. We talked about the Meinhardt twins that are going to Pitt, and they're good ball players, and maybe it's good to avoid that strength. Maybe we'll try to exploit it later. That time it was designed more to go to the outside. Strader chose to cut it back in, picked up a short 2.
They're doubling this because they're in a two-step cover 2. Down.
Lenny Gilmer with the keeper around the right side, cuts back to the middle. Gilmer with some running room. Gilmer with one man to beat, crosses the 20. Down close to the 15-yard line does Lenny Gilmer on the quarterback keeper. Nice first down run for the quarterback, the junior quarterback for the Penn Hills Indians. Lenny Gilmer. 6'1", 178, and he showed some speed and some moves on that play, Bob.
21 yards and an excellent cut as he came to the outside at about the 35-yard line. A beautiful cut back towards the far side of the field and a 21-yard pickup for Lenny Gilmer. First down for the Indians inside the 20-yard line of Butler.
So now 1st and 10 for the Indians. And again, you go back to Dwayne Thompson with some running room up the middle. Thompson, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, touchdown, Penn Hill! Thompson with some nice moves up the middle, busts into the end zone on a 17-yard pickup, and the Indians go up 6-0 with 7:58 to go here in the first half.
A nice run and a nice cutback from Thompson. Just straight power running once again off the tackles for the Indians, and Thompson broke a tackle, dragged a tackler from the 10 to the 5, broke loose of that tackle. We'll give him 18 yards on that touchdown. The first score of the season goes to number 22, Dwayne Thompson.
Dave Zakia out of a Victor Strader hold, trying for the point after. Place down, the kick is up, and from here it looks good, and so it is. Officials say it is good too. So 7:58, the Indians are now up by a score of 7-0 over Butler. And Bob, the Indians didn't fool around on that drive. They just marched right downfield and busted into the end zone.
And of course, not putting the ball in the air, as Penn Hills will do. And the big play, obviously, in the drive, the first down run by Strader was big, but obviously the 21-yard run by Gilmer that set up the 1st and 10 from the 18, and took one play after that for Thompson to punch it in.
So the Indians on the drive, Bob.
6 plays, 66 yards.
That's a nice 11-yard per play average on the drive. So in traditional Indian fashion, on the ground, they power their way 66 yards for their first score of the season. Now let's see how the Butler offense reacts, see if the Indian defense can hold. Zakia, the nice high kick down to about the 15-yard line, brought in by Mike Tack. Tack with some running room up the middle. Mike fumbles the football. It's going to go back to the Penn Hills Indians, and they do get it. The Indians have the ball back at the 35-yard line. Coming up with it is Dave Zakia, the kicker. Johnny on the spot. Dave Zakia gets the Indians the ball back at the 35-yard line. Oh, my, what a turn of events here at Butler Stadium.
And Tack had some good yardage on the return. He was busting it straight up the middle. Just got hit from the side. The ball flipped out of his arms. And Johnny on the spot, as you said, Dave Zakia, good penetration for a kicker to be out that close. And he fought tooth and nail for that football, and a big turnover. Penn Hills comes up with it.
I think Zakia was reacting to the fact that Tack had some running room up the middle and was able to bust through it. Zakia looked like he was a lone man to be able to perhaps stop Tack, but I didn't catch who torpedoed Tack from the side. Lenny Gilmer now is going to put the ball in the air, looking for Ronnie Graham, but no, going deep down over the middle. And there will be a flag at the 5-yard line. Gilmer was looking for Victor Strader, and he was pushed by John Rutkowski at the 5. The ball was not going to be caught, but the official saw the push, threw the flag. That, I believe, is 15 yards and a first down.
It will be, and really a bad decision by Rutkowski, because Gilmer had overthrown that football by about 10 yards. There was no question about it, but Strader got pushed in the back, and that's where the defensive back has to realize, hey, if the ball's not going to be caught, just get out of the way. And Penn Hills defensive backs could take that as a lesson, too. That's a costly penalty. Instead of 2nd and 10 at the 35, 1st and 10 at the 20. It's a big difference.
The interference happened at the 5-yard line. The ball landed near almost out of the end zone.
Halfway through at least, and that's, you can see some arm strength there, obviously, from Lenny Gilmer, but the pass was not going to be caught. But Penn Hills hopes to capitalize on now 2 consecutive mistakes, the turnover, now the penalty.
Thompson up the middle again. This time Thompson picks up 5 to the 15. In case folks are wondering why the ball wasn't placed at the 5-yard line on the pass interference. In high school football, the pass interference is a 15-yard penalty, not at the site of the infraction.
It does not go. The spot does carry the first down, as you said, I believe automatically, even if it is like a half the distance situation. But you get 15. It wasn't a half the distance situation there. And Penn Hills, again, trying to capitalize on that mistake. And again, running Thompson, and they're not straying too much to the outside. We've seen Gilmer the only one for Penn Hills to take it to the outside. Other than that, it's been all off-tackle ball handling and running for the Penn Hills Indians.
The Indians have been running right at the Meinhardts. Give credit to the Penn Hills offensive line. And this time it's Victor Strader up the middle, picks up about 3. You never mention them enough, the offensive line, but they're doing a heck of a job. Of course, in there, Teddy Fitzpatrick, Jared Smith, Ronnie Graham on the end.
Gibson and White.
Oh, of course.
And of course, Kevin McCoy.
Kevin McCoy, number 77. 6'4", 244 is Kevin McCoy. And he's dwarfed by Gibson and White.
It's going to be close. He may have it. He's over the line.
Little quick handoff up the middle goes to Garrett Livingston. And he crosses, looks like he crosses the 10-yard line. Should be good enough for a Penn Hills Indian first down. It'll be first and goal from just inside the 10, and it is.
That's the quick pop right there in the backfield where you have your options. You hand it off quick as you can to the first man through. This time it was Hoggy Livingston, and he needed 4, picked up 5.
I've never liked first and goals from the 10.
And this is just right inside the 10, so you cannot pick up a first down. You have to score points, or else you'll turn it over on downs. And it's a very, when you're first and goal from the 3, it's a different story than first and goal from the 9.
Neil Gordon signaling for a timeout on the sideline. See if the Indians call a timeout. Clock's still running. And there's signal to timeout.
And they signaled for the timeout 15 seconds prior to the time when the officials stopped it.
And I think
and that's what
Neil
gets
Gordon
you
is making his points.
That's what gets you later in the game. 15 seconds went off the clock, and it might not be costly now, but in the fourth quarter,
they were calling the timeout. Officials coming to the near side of the field.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to put more time on the clock or if he's going to just explain the situation to the coach. He's pointing to the scoreboard. I think they are going to put some time back on the clock. He's talking to the Butler coaches. We'll see how much time. It should be about 5:33 is my guess on the scoreboard.
At least 5.5.
We'll see where they mark it.
Telling you, Bill, how quickly a game can change. Butler has a nice opening first drive. It stalls, and then Penn Hills didn't do much on their first drive, but they're able to put a big play, obviously 21-yard run by Gilmer, but a nice drive. They score, and then a turnover, and they're breathing right down. So what was a tight first quarter, all of a sudden Penn Hills breaks it open within a 5-minute mark here, or at least they have a chance
Butler
to.
Had the ball for 9 minutes, had a 9-minute drive to open the game. Now the Indians with 5:32, they put back on the clock.
So you were close.
Close.
But you went over, so.
This is the price is right, I lose.
Well, this is a situation we talked about first and goal from the 9. You cannot basically call your short yardage plays just yet. You got to see what you can do here on first down. It's a key play.
I think the Indians have to try to look maybe going wide, but as I say that, they go right up the middle with Victor Strader, gaining about a yard. I think perhaps now maybe see an option to our side of the field, but we're allowed to guess. That's our job.
When you run the option with a talented athlete, a quarterback like Lenny Gilmer, he showed you what he can do running the football with a 21-yard gain on the first touchdown drive. So if he tucks it under, he is that much more dangerous.
So the ball, we'll call it no gain on that last carry. The ball's still just inside the 10-yard line. Second and goal for the Indians. And Gilmer hits the second man through. It's Victor Strader with the ball. Strader gets down to about the 6-yard line. And then I'll be third and goal from the 6.
Well, Penn Hill's changing up here, Bill, going with only 2 men in the backfield, Strader and Livingston. Usually you can see 2 men plus Dwayne Thompson, who is more of the outside runner of those 3. With Livingston and Strader in there, you're going to expect something up the middle. That's what they got on the first 2 plays.
Gilmer with a quick look in, and he's caught at the line of scrimmage. Gilmer looked to throw the ball quickly. Nobody was there, and he just did a smart thing and ate it. So now the Indians will bring in the field goal unit, see if Dave Zakia can tack on another 3 with 4:04 on a running clock here in the first half.
And I have to agree with you and also with the coaching staff. A good decision because if you don't put it in the air, less bad things can happen. He lost 1 yard instead of turning the football over, at least giving Penn Hills a chance at the field goal attempt. Looks to be about a 26-yarder for Zakia.
We'll call it a 27-yarder. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Strader on the hold. Ball's put down. The kick is up. The kick goes just wide to the right. Looks good from here, but the officials are a lot closer than we are. So the score stays 7-0. And Butler will take over from their own 20 with 3:35 to go in the first half. So Penn Hills fails to capitalize on the turnover, but they still have the 7-0 lead.
So instead of breaking it open after getting the fumble, Butler gets a little bit of a confidence boost knowing that they had 1st and goal at the 9, and they hold. They're going to hope to get maybe some yardage here on this drive, and at least, as I said, instead of being 10-0 there, and he's still trailing 7-0. Penn Hills, after making those adjustments, Bill, after the first drive, they pretty much stifled Butler on the second drive.
So now this is the Butler Golden Tornadoes' first opportunity with the football after the Penn Hills touchdown. So we'll see how they do with 3.5 minutes to go. We'll see if Nunes puts the ball in the air, but they're still with 3 backs, full house backfield.
He's a line, our corner's a line.
A wishbone, if you will.
No, it's not Damien, it's Dwayne.
Nunes does going to throw the football. Audible's at the line of scrimmage. Pass is complete to J.T. Wilson with some nice running room, but a nice smack by Victor Strader to knock him out of bounds at about the 40-yard line.
Indeed, it was a good smack, but it's not really what you're looking for. It was single coverage. It was a little quick pop off the line to Wilson. He was 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. He broke the tackle from Dwayne Thompson. A big gainer, 20 yards on first down.
We'll call it 19. We'll say 1st and 10, just inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. 3:28 to go here in the first half. Indians up 7-0. Wilson split to the far side. Nunes audible in at the line of scrimmage. Gary Livingston shows blitz. Ronnie Graham drops back, and it looks like it's going to be another delay game. Nice movement by Penn Hills at the line of scrimmage, confusing Nunes in the audible situation. And again, catches Butler, and taking too much time.
This time, as it was earlier, it wasn't a stacked line. If there were 9 guys on the line of scrimmage the first time Nunes got caught for delay a game. This time there were about 7, but it was Livingston and Graham from their linebacker positions faking into line of scrimmage that forced Nunes to audibilize, and it's the second time in the first half he's been caught for too much time.
A lot of movement by the Penn Hills Indian defense. Wilson now split on the near side, 3 backs. This time, first man through is Bailey. Bailey with some running room up the middle, brought down from behind by Garrett Livingston. Livingston with a nice tackle, saves lots of yardage. But Jason Bailey picks up another Butler first down, and they're again in Penn Hills Indian territory, just over the 50-yard line.
And it's the quick pop, and once you get past the initial line of scrimmage, if the linebackers are sucked in, which they were in that play, you get into the secondary very, very fastly. Gain of 17 for Jason Bailey. That is the 7th first down of the first half for Butler. And as you said, Bill, into Penn Hills territory once again.
Clock running, 3:07 to go here in the first half. Penn Hills 7, Butler nothing. Again, it's Jason Bailey up the middle. This time he only picks up about 3. He's looking for the face mask call. No call to be made by the officials, but the clock still rolls, approaching 2:50 to go. And now those timeouts Butler took earlier are starting to come into play.
I was just going to make that point. The closer they get, if they can, into Penn Hills territory, the more the clock runs down. That's where those timeouts are going to do. But they can. You're right. We'll bring up that point here in a second.
Wilson split near side. Still the wishbone. Nunes looks like he's going to keep it on an option on the near side. Pitches the ball. Kurt Wittig takes the punishment. Nunes wise to get the ball away, so he doesn't get the hits. But Wittig able to pick up a couple yards.
He gets out of bounds, able to stop the clock, and we were talking about the lack of timeouts. This year, new to high school football, a quarterback can take a snap and spike the ball right behind the line of scrimmage, stopping the clock, whereas last year you could not do that. It was a penalty for intentional grounding. This year, a quarterback is able to just take the snap, drop back one step, and throw the ball into the ground. So if you burn some timeouts, it's a new thing to have in there. At least you get a chance to stop the clock and regroup and huddle.
So now we'll call that a 4-yard pickup on the option play. 3rd and 4. Nunes again going to throw the football. Looks like he's going to try to throw the screen. Puts the ball up for grabs. The ball looks like it might be picked off, but it's caught. Oh, what a play by J.T. Wilson. Comes down with the ball at the 29-yard line. The ball was thrown up for grabs. Victor Strader nearly with the interception. But credit J.T. Wilson, who comes down with the football and goes out of bounds, stops the clock, and picks up a first down for Butler inside the 30 at the 29-yard line.
Again,
that was a bad throw by Nunes.
A terrible throw and a mistimed jump by Victor Strader. That's what killed that play. That ball should by all rights have been picked off. But it works in Butler's favor. Give Wilson credit for having his confidence. And now a staggered line here for Butler.
Nunes throws the ball downfield, and he has Wilson at the 24, and he has some running room. Wilson trying to get out of bounds, and he does to stop the clock inside the 20 at the 18-yard line. It was student body right. Anyone who could touch the ball went left. Sam Albert definitely pulling out his bag of tricks tonight here at Butler Stadium.
Give him 11 on the pickup. Troy Nunes is 6 of 8 in the first half, and also 1 of 1 receiving the football. And you got to give Sam Albert credit, not afraid to go into his playbook, deep into his playbook. We saw a flea flicker, we see student body right, and he goes left, and it works for another first down.
And we see the I don't know what I'm doing fake. So we talked about perhaps the Penn Indians' Achilles heel on defense this year being the secondary, or being susceptible to the pass, and it's come through so far in this drive. Butler goes back to the ground to keep the Indians honest. Bailey goes nowhere, picks up maybe a yard. And the clock rolls under 2 minutes. We have 1:52 on a running clock here in the first half. Along with Bob Orquist, I'm Bill Navari. Great to have you along here on an exciting opening night. 1995, the Penn Indians and the Butler Golden Tornado from Butler High School Stadium. Looks to be an exciting year of Penn Hills Indian football this season. You can catch it all right here. Nunes under center, 3 men in the backfield. There's going to be a flea flicker. Rock's going to throw the football looking for Nunes, and the ball's picked off by Damien Germany at the 6-yard line. Credit Damien Germany. He didn't fall for the flea flicker. He stayed right on Troy Nunes out of the backfield, and he was able to come up with the interception at the 6-yard line, and the Indians take over with 1:24 to go in the first half. And you'd expect the Indians to try to run out the clock, especially with Butler only having the one timeout, and they're deep in their own territory.
Absolutely, and Germany, give him credit also for turning around at the right time. He turned around at the last split second, and the ball was hitting him in the number 2. But he was right with Troy Nunes, and he was the last line of defense for Penn Hills, and he picks off the ball.
I think Rock made the mistake of telegraphing the pass too early. If he acts like he's going to be running with the football, he might have Nunes open in the end zone. But you could see it right when he took the football that he was going to throw it. And that kept the Penn Hills secondary right on the play. And the Indians on the scripts around Hoggy Livingston right into the line of scrimmage, pick up a yard, and the clock continues to roll down to 46 seconds.
And another key to that play.
To see if Butler called a timeout.
Another key on the play: if Rock, instead of trying to throw the line drive, he loops it into the end zone, he might give Nunes a chance to run under it. But he threw it tight, and that's where the coverage was, and that's where the interception ends up in Damien Germany's arms.
Nunes had to half a step on Germany, but Germany makes the nice diving interception. Down to 10. I don't think you'll see the Indians run another play this half. At least they... One half of football under our belts. One half of football left to go tonight. At the end of the first half, it's the Penn Hills Indians 7. The Butler Golden Tornado, nothing. You're watching Penn Hills Indians football. An 18-yard run with 7:50 to go in the second quarter. Dave Zakia with the point after, and that is all the scoring we have so far in this football game.
That's true, and Penn Hill was a golden opportunity after that, picking up a Butler turnover on the kickoff, first and goal from the 9, missing a field goal. Dave Zakia, 27-yard field goal. Statistically in the first half, Dwayne Thompson, the leading rusher, he had the 18-yard touchdown run, 7 carries. He picked up 40 yards. Lenny Gilmer, 4 rushes. He picked up 26, including a big 21-yard run on the touchdown drive. Victor Strader chipping in with 21 yards rushing, and Hoggy Livingston with 7 for Butler. They did a lot of damage passing the football. Troy Nunes, the sophomore quarterback, was 6 of 8 for 70 yards, and of course he caught a pass on a flea flicker for 14 yards. 84 total yards passing for the Golden Tornado, and they had 14 rushes for 68 yards. Their leading rusher, Jason Bailey, he had 5 rushes, and he picked up 31 yards. Total yards in the first half, 142 for the Golden Tornado, 94 for the Indians. But here's a big statistic. Butler, 4 penalties, 2 turnovers. Penn Hills, 0s in both of those categories. So they played mistake-free football as far as penalties and turnovers. You can't count in missed tackles and all that, but you got to be happy with that. If you can do that in your first half of football, real half of football anyway, you're doing something right.
Of course, we have to mention that the second turnover Butler had was an interception at the 6-yard line. Late in the first half, they were driving for a possible tying touchdown, and Damien Germany comes up big on the flea flick on the halfback option back to Troy Nunes, and the Indians were able to hold again. And you have to be impressed with Troy Nunes so far in the first half. And I have to mention to Penn Hills fans that he will be around for 2 more seasons. He's only a sophomore. At least in high school, you can't pass up your year of senior eligibility, at least not yet, to come out early. But
that's true.
Nunes has been impressive.
He has for a sophomore. Started last year every game as a freshman, and he was impressive. But you mentioned the big turnover and the nice job by Damien Germany. He was the only Penn Hills defensive back in the area on that play, and Rock rolled to his right on the halfback option, and down the sideline and cutting back towards the middle. It was Troy Nunes who, as I mentioned, already had caught 1 pass in the first half, and Germany turning around just at the right second, picked off the pass, and that was a big turnover, 1 of 2 as we mentioned, and Penn Hills will get the football. They deferred after winning the toss in the first half, and they chose to receive here in half number 2.
You really blame them with the defense that they have. You want to get them out on the field to set the tone early. Of course, Butler with a 9-minute drive, they failed to score, so in one way it worked, another way it sort of...
It's 2 schools of thought on that, though. If they had a dominating offense, you know they'd want the football.
Right.
They want they want their defense to set the tone. But if you have a great offense that can put tons and tons of points on the board, then you're going to want the football and set the tone that way.
Of course, last year McKeesport had a great offense, and we have seen them defer in a couple of games. The opening kickoff goes to the Penn Hills Indians, and just like that, right up the middle is Victor Strader, who crosses over the 50. 1 man to beat, and he's brought down deep. Not deep, but inside. Inside Butler Golden Tornado territory at the 40-yard line. So Strader gets things popping here in the first play of the second half.
Strader goes 44 yards on the kickoff return. Excellent field position. Penn Hill starts their first drive, their initial drive here in half number 2, and at the Butler 41-yard line.
Of course, we have to mention, we hope you enjoyed the Penn Hills Band at halftime. You will see them throughout the season at halftime here on Unreal Productions, Penn Hills Indians Football Network. Dwayne Thompson busts over the left side with a first down as a running room. Needs a blocker. It's a touchdown, but he gets inside the 10. First and goal Indians from the 10-yard line. Wow. Have the Indians awoken?
And again, Thompson running very, very well. After getting off the tackle, he made a move to the outside, has the great speed, picks up 31 yards down to the 10-yard line, and I think he was just a little too fast, too quick, because Graham was out there to block, and Thompson ran ahead of him. He was just too fast.
They needed to slow up a little bit and let them play the blocks.
They cannot pick up the first down.
Heck of a run. They cannot. It's first and goal from the 10-yard line. And again, it's Thompson up the gut, and he goes nowhere. Of course, I'm surprised the Indian band hasn't picked up the Indian war chant, as they do at home games. Perhaps that's a new whippy-old rule.
So this will be the 3rd play of the drive, but the first 2 plays of the second half, you have Victor Strader with a 44-yard kick return into Butler territory, and then the 31-yard jaunt down the left sideline by Dwayne Thompson, and Penn Hills sitting pretty, now 2nd and goal from the 10.
Thompson now over 70 yards rushing in this football game. 10.5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Full house backfield. Strader over the right side, down to the 6. Brings up 2nd and goal. Excuse me, bring up 3rd and goal.
Schrader picks up 4. That time a little pitch out and ran off tackle, but couldn't get it to the outside. And now interesting to see if Penn Hills will maybe put it up or maybe run something to the outside, because if you get about 4 yards here, then you're going to be faced with this decision time. You're going to go for a field goal or you try to punch it in on 4th and goal. Hopefully they can get it into the end zone here on 3rd down.
Livingston, Thompson, and Strader in the power right. It's Thompson up the middle. Thompson near the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, Penn Hills. What blocking up front by the Penn Hills offensive line. He's in the end zone. It's touchdown, Penn Hills, and it seems the Butler Golden Tornado are stunned.
It happened just that quickly. It did, Bill.
9:37 to go here in the 3rd quarter. The Indians up 13-0. Dave Zakia will come on for the point after. It took the Indians 5 plays?
4 plays.
4 plays.
2 minutes, 23
Wow.
seconds on the 41-yard drive, and throw in the 44-yard kick return by Victor Strader.
Gets it down. Zakia's kick is up, and it splits the uprights. Zakia with his 2nd point of the game. And the Indians go up 14-0. Zakia, 2 good extra points. Thompson with 2 nice touchdown runs. And the Indians are about to take control of this football game.
Now it's up to the defense to set the tone. The first drive for Butler, they did a nice job. Butler did, driving the ball. And then the 3rd drive they had a couple of nice pass plays. One, of course, should have been intercepted, and it did end in an interception. But it's up for the defense to now keep the momentum on Penn Hill's side. And a big, quick drive like that will stun a team. It took Penn Hills 4 plays on the drive and the big kick return, and all of a sudden, instead of 7-0, they come out at halftime, and 2.5 minutes in, under 2.5 minutes, they're trailing 14-0.
Mike Tack, number 5, and J.T. Wilson, number 24, back deep to receive for Butler. It'll be interesting to see if Zakia will kick the number 5, Mike Tack, who fumbled the last kickoff following the first Penn Hills touchdown. The kickoff, nice and high, and it will be Mike Tack at the 10. Rimmer at the middle last time. Tack with a little bit of running room around the outside. Makes a nice move to cut back in, pick up a few extra yards, and Tack will get out to the 40-yard line. Give him credit on a nice kickoff return, and the Golden Tornado will take the field with some great field position at their own 40-yard line. 9:27 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
And that's a 30-yard run by Tack, and it's a different kind of run than Strader, who busted up. It didn't really have to break a tackle until he got some Butler defenders near midfield. Tack broke several tackles before he brought it up the left sideline, and it's pretty much a strong individual effort by Tack. One of those tackles he broke was the kicker, Dave Zakia. So he's very active, obviously, on the special teams.
I've been very impressed with Zakia's kicking tonight. Definite plus for the Indians. Noon's the quarterback. Ball carrier, number 21, Kurt Wittig. Wittig picks up a couple. We'll call it maybe 3 yards. Call it 2nd and a short 7 for the Indians. You see the Golden Tornado in their standard 3-back setup. They play it out of a wishbone, but they don't play the true wishbone where it's a lot of options out of the wishbone. It's more or less a full house backfield, if you will.
They did run 2, maybe 3 times. They ran the option pitch to the outside where Noons ended up pitching it off, but mostly they've been handing off to the 1st or 2nd back.
This time it's Noon on the option, back to Rock. Rock looks like he has nowhere to go. Cuts back in, turns the loss into a 1-yard gain. Give Rock some credit, broke some tackles to get back across the line of scrimmage, bringing up 3rd and 5 for the Golden Tornado. It looked like Rock was to be brought down for a 4-yard loss.
He cut it back inside. Jeremy George had the pursuit. He sealed it off, and a nice cut by Rock to pick up those 2 yards. And Graham from the backside makes the tackle. But that was all Rock. It looked like he was going to be stopped back at the original line of scrimmage around the 40, but he cut it up earlier than he really wanted to and made a good gain out of nothing.
Wilson and Adam Ward wide on the near side. In fact, Adam more of a slot back. split backs for Nunes. Nunes will look for Rock out of the backfield, and he has him in the short slot. Tries to cut back to the other side, and Mike White says, hello, David Rock.
Great defensive job down here.
And that's a big loss. We'll call that about an 8-yard loss. Mike White read that nicely. Why Rock went back that way, I don't know.
Well,
going back right into the strength of the Penn Hills defense.
I'll give you 2 reasons, number 8 and number 9, and they're both on the chest of Ronnie Graham. That's why he cut it back inside. And give White credit, because it's very easy for a lineman to quit on that play, and he did not.
Looks like Butler wants to call timeout. He's been called timeout twice, and the referee hasn't done it. That's 3 times now he's called timeout.
Oh my God. Oh, now you got a flag.
They got 2 flags.
There's 3 flags go down at the line everywhere.
And they're thinking it took a long time, but delay
Jason
again
Bailey
would be
tried to call timeout 3
would be
times.
dead ball foul. So we'll see.
Well, usually the umpire will call the flag.
Right, or the back judge.
Pardon me.
Now we're going to see.
But I don't see any flag from the back judge.
We saw a flag after the ball was snapped, and we saw a flag when the coverage was halfway down the field.
I think you can have a roughing the kicker. You can have an ineligible man down the field. But what I don't understand is the punter tried to put his hands in a timeout position 3 times, and nothing was called. False start. That's a dead ball false start. Goes against.
That's procedure.
Or procedure call. That should negate a roughing the kicker call.
We have a cramp also on the sideline. Looks like a hamstring cramp for Penn Hills. Can't pick up the number. Right where that second flag was thrown.
My guess is, I hate to guess on who's cramping, but my guess is, it looks to me from here, it looks like it's Damien, Germany. We shall see.
They call unsportsmanlike conduct on our Why? That's unbelievable.
So right now, as we're standing, they're sorting this out. Penn Hills has a 1st and 10 at the 41.
Penn Hills was called for unsportsmanlike conduct on the sidelines.
I didn't see the second.
Sure they're probably complaining about the punter calling the timeout.
Too vehemently.
But a procedure call was also going against Butler. You got to try to figure this one out. So they're going to walk off the 15, walk off the 5.
First they're going to take the 5, then the 15, maybe.
And if they do that, it'll still be 4th. It'll still be.
Alerting the official that he called timeout. Yeah. Unsportsmanlike on Neal. That is unreal.
So our word from the coaches is Neil Gordon called for the unsportsmanlike conduct because he was alerting the officials. The punter was motioning for the timeout.
Well, it'll be short.
It'll still be 4th down.
But it's decision time because it's 4th now
and
instead
it's
of...
at midfield, and Butler down by 2 touchdowns. You would think Sam Albert would go for it in a situation like this. But don't be surprised if they fake a punt.
It's about 4th and 2, maybe less than 2. Whereas after the pass and the stop in the backfield by Mike White, it was 4th and 10, maybe 11. So it brings up maybe a change of decision here. They can still punt, but this is closer to territory where you would fake the punt than when you're in a 4th and long.
Neil Gordon on the far sideline, about the 50-yard line, in a discussion with the officials, motioning that the punter had called timeout several times, and he's still discussing that. They're right at the yardsticks on the far side of the field. And Coach Timko is also...
Remember earlier, Penn Hills in the first half had tried to call timeout, and 13 seconds went off the clock, and they changed. They take the punting unit off the field, and they brought back in their regular offense.
Now, what's interesting is this is the same officiating crew that officiated the Penn Hills scrimmage at Norwood last week.
Were there any timeouts called in that?
Damien's not the game.
Wait, that's wrong.
Tell him Damien's
So
not.
now they just motioned to timeout against Penn Hills.
They're going for it.
And Butler will go for it. So it's 4th and a short 2. Say Butler has to cross midfield. for the first down. Neil Gordon still making sure his point is heard. And quite frankly, I can't blame him. So Jason Bailey 3 times put his hands in the position of the tee for the timeout. The referee was looking elsewhere. But did it repeatedly. So now it's 4th and a short 2 for Butler. Sam Albert out discussing strategy with the offense, and Coach Timko out there with the defense. Coach Timko, the tallest person on the field over the defensive huddles. Command my respect.
I believe it is Damian Germany down over. They're working on his right hamstring at about the 45-yard line. And he's a key defensive back. He has to be replaced now for Penn Hills on this 4th down and with 4th and short for Butler.
He's going to throw the football. Perhaps maybe an option. Now Nunes calls timeout.
Now this is eight timeouts, and we've only had 2 actually. Although Butler's this would be 4. They signaled for 3 already.
Well, this is Butler's, I guess, first time out of the half. They have 2 remaining. Penn Hill still with 3.
This is the longest punt sequence in history.
They've had 4th down here for I think 33 minutes and 4 seconds. But as we have it, the Indians are up 14-0. 6:34 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Along with Bob Orquist, I'm Bill Navari. Great to have you along for another season of Penn Hills Indians football here on Unreal Productions. Also, we have Kevin Burke up in the booth. He's the man behind the camera. So what Kevin sees, you see.
And just because they put the punt team back on.
They put the punt team back on. Obviously, they went to go and perhaps try to draw the Indians off. But of course, don't be surprised if they just snap the ball to the up back. That's Derek Bailey. Like the ball is kicked away. And it's Strader at the 23. Strader breaks 3 tackles and gets out to the 30-yard line. Nice job by Victor Strader. Picks up 7 yards on the return, but broke 3 tackles initially. So the Indians will take over 1st and 10 from their own 30 with 6:25 to go here in the 3rd, and they're up by 2 touchdowns.
So after all that,
we're back to where we were.
Penn Hills would have started at their own 41. They started at their own 30. But offensively, I think now this is the time they want to try to put a little bit of a sustained drive together. They had the momentum. The defense held. The offense had the quick score to open the 3rd quarter in the 2nd half. Right now, a nice drive would do well.
And again, the Indians go back to the ground game, and it's Strader.
20 yards behind the play.
That was unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
The flag goes down close to the line of scrimmage. And a holding call will go against the Penn Hills Indians.
Spot of the foul will be the 32, so a 2-yard gain for Strader, which would have been a 16-yard gain. So it'll be 1st and about 18 from the Penn Hills 22. The holding was behind the play. Strader was already 8 to 10 yards downfield when the hold occurred.
So it's about a net loss of about 24 yards on the play. 16-yard gain and an 8-yard penalty from the 8 yards from the line of scrimmage. So now the Indians have a 1st and called 18. Again, they go back to the ground, and again it's Strader, but this time he only picks up 3.
See, but that's a good point you make. Officially in the statistics, it goes as a 10-yard penalty and a 2-yard gain, but it doesn't take into account the net yardage, which is a minus 24. So sometimes if you look at a penalty as a crucial penalty, it's those kind of penalties that really hurt a team. A simple 5-yard penalty is one thing, but you look at that just negated a 16-yard gain and the ball out near midfield.
And it pushed them back close to the 20-yard line. Pitch back to this side. Wayne Thompson, and doesn't look like he got much support on that play. So that brings up third and a long way to go. The Indians called no gain on the play. It'd be third and 15.
Well, Pat Madigan and John Rutkowski were both there for Butler, and when you get a pitch out, you need an end or also a lead blocker there, and there was no.
Jared Smith was out there, but he had six Butler defensemen.
And he could only pick one, and there were two other guys just standing there waiting to make the tackle on Thompson.
You got outside over there.
So I formation, I really don't expect to see the ball in the air, and we don't.
Oh,
Victor Strader around the left side. And a nice play by J.T. Wilson to bring him down for a gain of about half a yard. We'll call it no gain. Clock continues to roll with 4:12 to go on a running clock here in the third quarter. And now the Indians will punt the ball back to Butler. So that penalty was very big. Instead of the Indians with 1st and 10 at the 46, it brought them back to a 1st and 18, back close to the 20-yard line.
Even though it was a very safe and conservative call, I agree with it. Penn Hills with the right call, just handing the ball off. They're not a passing team. You don't want to flirt with the play with fire in your own end, and I definitely agree with that call. And in actuality, a block there, and Thompson could have broke that more to the outside.
Nice kick by Zakia, pushes number 5, Mike Tack, back close to the 40, but Tack close by some tacklers. And Butler gets the ball back in Penn Hills territory at the 42. Nice running by Tack. A little over pursuit by the Penn Hills special teams. And Butler with some great field position. They really need to make something happen soon if they plan to get back into this football game.
Indeed they do, and a nice kick from Zakia. A little more hang time, though, only allowing the first couple men to get down there. Once Tack broke that, he got over midfield very, very easily. So Penn Hills defense, again, they've been pretty solid a couple times, especially on the first drive by Butler. They bent a little bit, but they've picked it up. They've made a couple adjustments. They've done well.
Nunes going back to the air quickly. Gets the ball completed out to the near side to Adam Ward. And Eric Haddon on the tackle. Eric Haddon to Justin Cole in the defensive secondary, along with Victor Strader and Dwayne Thompson. Haddon, number 24. And Justin Cole, number 25. Again, Nunes to the air on a quick pass. Almost picked off. Adam Ward was open, and he didn't turn around to see the football. If Victor Strader was looking for the hit. If he catches the football, he's still running.
Indeed he is, and that's a timing pattern. That's maybe a little miscommunication. Nunes has done a nice job at that time. Threw it early. Ward did not see it, and you made the call, Bill.
Ward didn't turn around. He had him.
Ward
didn't turn around, and Strader was looking for the stick.
Strader looking for the stick instead of the football, and if he looks for the football, he has an interception. But, however, if the guy catches the ball, he's there to make the play. So you can't really fault Victor on that, but a tough play, a quick timing, a one-step drop by Nunes.
3rd and 3 now. Motion by Tack. Nunes on the option play. Tack on the outside. Dwayne Thompson is there, but Tack's still able to pick up the first down. Got a pickup of about 5. So now Butler has a 1st and 10 from the Penn Hills 30 with 2:45 to go in the third.
That's tough. That's more than the first time tonight that we've seen one Penn Hills defender and one Butler ball carrier in the same area. And that's a chance where you have to make the tackle, and obviously the tackle was made this time, but not after the first down.
Nunes again looking downfield for Ward. J.T. Wilson in and out of the hands of Wilson at the 18. Right at the Indian secondary, they're not over pursuing. Again, Eric Haddon on the coverage. Along with Victor Strader and Dwayne Thompson. But Haddon and Cole doing a nice job coming in the secondary.
Haddon in the game because Damian Germany is out with the cramping problem in his right leg.
Second down now for Butler, and again, Nunes goes to the air. Looking for Bailey on the near side on his screen. Bailey gets away from one man and is brought down about the 30-yard line. Damon Gibson, along with Corey Connors and B.J. DiNatale were there, but Bailey able to escape their grasp and get out to the 30-yard line. So he turned a loss into a no gain. So now it's 3rd and 10. for Butler and expect Nunes again to put the football into the air. Nunes this time on the keeper because there's nobody around. Mike White. Mike White on the tackle, and he does come up with the football. Mike White stripped Nunes of the football and recovered it at the 28-yard line, and it's Penn Hills football. Nice play by Mike White. He pursued Nunes out of the backfield, stripped him of the football, and the Penn Hills Indians offense now comes onto the football field.
Either way on that play, it would have won for Penn Hills' advantage. Jeremy George was held at about the 35-yard line, and give all the credit in the world, very easy for a defensive lineman to make initial pursuit and quit on the play. Nunes cut it up, White pursued him, made the tackle, stripped the ball, recovered the ball. He did it all in that play. 1st and 10 for the Indians at their own 28.
Mike White got some raves out of some old folks out of Massillon a couple weeks ago.
You know how old folks are not easy to part with their raves either.
No, they're not. They said of all the players they've seen come through Massillon in the last how many years, Mike White impressed them the most. Hoggy Livingston across left side picks up 4. Minute and a half to go here in the third quarter. Penn Hills up 14-0. Along with Bob Orquist, I'm Bill Navarre. Great to have you along on a beautiful Friday evening in Butler County. Butler High School Stadium here on the campus of Butler High School. Hard to believe, high school football again upon us. Of course, only 103 days till Christmas.
So get your shopping in now.
Now, don't quote me on that.
There it is.
Oh.
Augie Livingston on the faker on the left side. I was watching Victor Strader coming up the middle. Nice play, nice fake by the Penn Hills offense.
Tell you what,
Livingston sort of put a busted play into a little bit of a game.
A sloppy exchange. Gilmer and Livingston ran into each other. And give Livingston credit to able to take that outside. I think it was designed to go right off the tackle, but a broken play goes from a gain of 2 for Hoggy on that.
30 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And the Indians faced with a 3rd and 5. I think Gilmer has put the ball in the air once. Now twice. Here's B.J. DiNatale for a first down over the 40-yard line. Nice play by Gilmer getting the ball out to hands DiNatale. Pickup of about 8 yards, and it's a Penn Hills Indian first down.
And that'll be Gilmer, make Gilmer 1 of 2. You were correct. He had thrown an incompletion earlier. Actually, it turned out to be good because it was the interference penalty against Butler. But he showed his arm strength by overthrowing it. But that was a different kind of play. A possession pass, a quick pop, picks up 8 to B.J. DiNatale, and a 1st and 10 for the Indians at their own 42.
And that is the end of the third quarter. So after 3 quarters of play, the Penn Hills Indians 14, the Butler Golden Tornado nothing. You're watching Penn Hills Indian football on Unreal Productions. Third quarter action about to get underway. Along with Bob Orquist, I'm Bill Navarre. Great to have you along on a Friday evening at Butler High School. The Penn Hills Indians 14, Butler Golden Tornado yet to get on the scoreboard in 1995. And quickly, if we can, mention just some of the Indians who did not dress for tonight's game because of some injuries. Cherish Britt out with a quad injury. Rashad Reed with a groin pull. Brian Franklin hurt his knee this week. Also, Donnie Chichilla with a bad shoulder. And Anthony DiMaria, the Slim, down to 302 pounds, out with an ankle injury. And again, the Indians go back to the ground. This time they're lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Victor Strader on the carry. We're up 2nd and 9, and so far tonight, Neil Gordon has put the football in the air 2 more times than he would like, which is none.
Definitely eschews the pass. You need to at least have some passing plays in your playbook, but Neil will keep it on the ground, and like we mentioned earlier, if you don't stop it, he will continuously run it at you.
Pitch back to Dwayne Thompson. Thompson looks like a drop about a yard on the play. Thompson having a nice evening tonight for the Penn Hills Indians.
"13 carries, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Dwayne.
So now 3rd and 10 for the Indians. We'll see if they put it in the air once again. Indians, they like a quick look-in pass. Gilmer will take one step back and just drop it right into the hands of DiNatale or Graham. This time it's Dwayne Thompson with a pitcher on the right side. Thompson gets away from one man, and that'll be it. But he does a nice job to worm his way out to the 45-yard line. So it'll pick up of 3 yards, but it'll be 4th down for the Indians, and Zakia will come in to punt.
Tell him to think about the cue. The cue. Wide open.
I'll tell you what, on that play, they really weren't leaning past because Ronnie Graham was the only receiver, and he was on the short side of the field, the far sideline from our vantage point. He was the only receiver that was downfield. So if you cover him, you basically take away the pass on that play. So Penn Hill's playing it safe, was going run all the way on that play.
Dak and Wilson downfield to receive the kick from the Penn Hills Indians, and a nice boot in the air by Zakia, and Wilson calls for the fair catch at the 22-yard line. Zakia's kicking tonight has been very impressive.
Indeed, we mentioned earlier, Zakia last year handled the punting chores and added the extra chores of being the place kicker this year. That time, beautiful hang time on that punt, and the coverage was down there, and a smart play by Wilson to take the fair catch. So Butler starts at about their own 22-yard line. They trail at 14-zip.
Kevin McCoy in on the punt team. Haven't seen much of him the last few series. Seems like he is nursing a bit of a sore ankle.
And
so
we
we'll
still
keep our eyes to see if he returns to the game.
Still have not seen Damian Germany back in. And we see Dwayne Thompson on the sideline getting some attention.
Gibson, White, Hudell Mickens, B.J. DiNatale, and Jeremy George on the defensive line. Ronnie Graham moves up on the near side. Look him to blitz. And there he comes. Ronnie Graham looking on the rush. Nunes had Wilson wide open with the ball a little too high out near the 30-yard line. It falls incomplete. And it'll be 2nd and 10. Nice pressure by the Penn Hills defense, but they needed to get the hands in the air.
They can knock some passes down, and it's single coverage over here on the 2 Butler receivers, and that ball was definitely catchable. You have Wilson, and Ward here in the short side, and we have Justin Cole
and Nick Brown
on the single coverage.
And again, he's going to go to the air, and this time Nunes is brought down. Nice pressure by Jeremy George on the near side. And it looked like Mike White in there to clean up the garbage along with Damon Gibson. As Jeremy George with some nice pressure from the near defensive end. Able to push Nunes up into the pocket where White and Gibson were waiting.
I'm not sure if that was a designed play for Nunes to run, but he stepped up mighty early in the pocket, and as he was stepping up, the pocket collapsed around him, and White gets the sack. So a loss of 4 for Butler, 3rd down 14.
Again, Nick Brown and Justin Cole in coverage on the near side. And there goes flags again. This time it's a line of scrimmage, so it's either a procedure or an offside, so I've read it's a procedure call. And that it is. So the officials will once again march off 5 yards against the Butler Golden Tornado. So the penalty's definitely hurting Butler tonight, but it's interesting to mention that the Penn Hills Indians have had but 1 penalty tonight, and that 1 penalty, they've had 2 penalties? The only one I remember is the one on Neil Gordon.
And that was the holding penalty, which negated the 60-yard run.
Negated Strader's nice run. It's Gordon's penalty that sort of inexplicable.
Timeout Butler.
And Butler uses their 2nd timeout of the 2nd half. It's interesting that Butler has been using their timeouts awfully early in the halves. We have 8:56 to go here in the 4th quarter, and already Butler is down to 1 timeout.
Well, give Troy Nunes credit. Number 6 coming off the field here is Jason Bailey, but he's being replaced. But if I counted heads correctly, there were 12 Golden Tornado on the field.
So then that would definitely be a wise.
So if he's a sophomore and he picked that out, he's intelligent because now Tack comes off. So there were 12 guys on the field. So something
comes on and Bailey and Tack come off.
That's good poise. You don't see that.
It looked like it was perhaps an undisciplined Butler team, but you're absolutely right. Give Nunes credit because you counted the 12 heads. They teach us one of the basics. You come to the line of scrimmage, you're counting heads.
Or else he looked
and reading defense, of course.
He looked in the backfield and noticed that there was 1 too many helmets there. So definitely 3rd and about 20 now. I think Butler is a passing down. And again,
Oh, 3rd and 20 from the 13.
it's single coverage over here, but you also have Strader as the safety man. He will probably rotate over this way.
And it's picked off at the 30 by Justin Cole. Justin Cole looking for a block and some running room. He crosses over the 30-yard line. Flags fly everywhere. Justin Cole on the pick brings the ball back to the 15-yard line, but it looks like Penn Hills will take over at about their 38-yard line, if I'm reading the flags correctly. But it will be definitely will be Penn Hills football.
It is a clip against the Indians, but that is after the fact. Cole was in the single coverage, and obviously the worst pass of the night by Nunes that time slipped off his hand. It was a dying quail, if you will, right into the hands of Justin Cole. He picked it off, a nice return, all for naught, but nonetheless, Penn Hills with an excellent field position after the 3rd Butler turnover.
Give Justin Cole credit. He read the bad pass properly, and he just sat there and waited for it to fall right into his hands.
4th Butler turnover.
So Butler with a bunch of penalties and 4 turnovers. Sort of the roles are reversing from last year whenever the Indians had 9 turnovers in the 13-7 loss to Butler at Penn Hills.
So now Penn Hills looking for a possible 36-yard drive here. Put this game well under control. They're leading it 14-zip. Just under 8.5 minutes left here in the 4th quarter.
Victor Strader gets met in the backfield.
Oh, they blitzed. Butler blitzed. They did on that play, and
Butler's
obviously
gonna have
guessed
to take
right.
some chances on defense to try to get the football back. We're approaching 8 minutes to go here in the football game. They're down by 2 touchdowns.
They're going to have to try to obviously cause havoc in the backfield like that because they know Penn Hills will most likely not put the ball in the air.
Good. They brought everybody. I don't know if it's good for them.
Yeah.
So with Butler bringing everybody, it might not be a bad idea for perhaps a play-action pass.
Or a pitch out and a sweep to the outside.
Dwayne Thompson getting close to the original line of scrimmage. There's Ronnie Graham and Mike Tack keep blocking down near the 20-yard line, well after the whistle, 20 yards from the line of scrimmage.
The coaches are talking about Ron Graham, who goes 6'4" at about 240. Mike Tack goes 5'8", 151. How about a man and a smaller man?
It's interesting, though. A lot of the hype coming into this game was the matchup between the Meinhardts and the Penn Hills offensive line.
It's the same coverage out there on Graham. Tack is on Graham, and he's wide open.
And there he goes. There's Ronnie Graham at the 15-yard line, and the ball is just overthrown. Lenny Gilmer just overthrew Ronnie Graham, who was open on the far sideline. Nice call, Bob. The ball just out of the reach of Ronnie Graham.
Derek Black, the safety man, also came over. Graham was open, but Gilmer's pass, it's a timing pattern, and he led him just too much. Graham did everything he could to try to come underneath that football, but it was just too far out of his reach.
So now it'll be 4th and 12 for the Indians. We'll see if they bring in Dave Zakia, and they do. It'll be bunting from his
sure, he's going to try to
50-yard line.
He's going to try to angle this one to the sideline also. And Butler obviously
so Butler with 10 minutes of line of scrimmage. J.T. Wilson, the only man back, and here comes Butler. Zakia gets the ball away, up in the air. Craig Gilmer, number 81, downfield. First man down, and Butler will take over at the 9-yard line. Ball touched down by Kevin McCoy. But number 81, Craig Gilmer, who is a sophomore.
So now Butler, they spot the ball at the 7. So they are 93 yards away from pay dirt, still trailing by 2 touchdowns.
We have 6:37 on a running clock to go in the football game.
And of course, they have shown that they're not afraid to throw the football. They threw it 10 times in the first half, 7 more here in the second half.
But we really have yet to mention the names of Jason or Brian Meinhardt tonight, which has been very interesting. Nunes with the pass to Wilson over the middle. Dwayne Thompson misses one tackle. Wilson with some running room. Victor Schrader gets him out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Quickly, there's a 30-yard pickup by Butler, and they're out of the shadows of their own end zone.
Tell you what, Bill,
it's not over yet.
They have some nice passing plays through the Golden Tornado, and we talked about some inexperience maybe in Penn Hill's defensive backfield, and Butler is trying to exploit that, and at times they have exploited it to their advantage.
Butler playing in a very difficult quad north. Of course, you have the perennial powerhouse in North Allegheny. Also, Seneca Valley doing very well this year. And don't rule out Shaler. They graduated a lot of kids, but they had an excellent season last year, and I'm sure they're going to play upon that again.
And, of course, North Hill's always dangerous with Jack McCurry at the helm.
Noon's pass was tipped by Justin Cole, almost picked off by Victor Strader. Ball fortunately falls incomplete. And of course, you know the Indians are going to be looking pass all the way now. The ball was touched by 3 or 4 people on this play.
Well, almost touched by the entire secondary, but count them, Bill. 1, 2, 3 times tonight. Victor Strader could have INT written all over him, and he's a little disgusted at that fact.
A lot of credit to Justin Cole, who's come in for the injured Damian Germany. He's played very well.
He has played well.
Flags go down as this play gets underway. We'll see what the call is. 6:08 to go here in the football game, 14-0. The Penn Hills Indians in the lead, and it is a procedure call against Butler. Should tack off another 5, so they have about 10 penalties tonight, I believe.
There are 2 ways you can look at defending a pass. One is to put pressure on the quarterback and take pressure off your secondary. The other one is to stack the secondary and put 5 or 6 men back there. Penn Hills is they're trying to get pressure, and at times they have, but as you can see, they have dropped the linebackers. Now Graham and Livingston in the middle there, they have dropped back in the coverage, although Graham splits up, but with trip receivers out here to the right for Butler, Penn Hills is still basically the man-to-man, although Strader will come over and help out on that coverage.
That was Butler's 8th penalty, and again, Troy Nunes goes to the air, and Adam Ward drops the football. Of course, the pass comes in a little bit high for Ward, open on the near side. But right on him is Nick Brown and Eric Haddon. If Ward comes down with the football, he's picking up maybe 2 yards.
3 times tonight, though, passes have been a little high, but I still think they should have been caught, that being the case. But in a 2nd and 15 situation, you're putting too much, you're relying too much on a broken tackle right there, because if Penn Hills plays that well, they get back to the original line of scrimmage at best through the Butler Golden Tornado.
A lot of the Butler faithful filing out. 3rd and 15 for Butler. Man in motion is Aaron Vicari. And again, another whistle. This one from the back judge. Looks like another delay of game penalty. This will be 9 penalties against Butler so far tonight.
3 times delay a game. And even though Nunes has shown some poise for a sophomore, you got to remember he still is very, very young, still an underclassman, and you'll have this. Sam Albert obviously has to work out some of the kinks, and I'm sure he'll do that in the first 3 exhibition games here before Butler heads into their Quad North schedule. And I'm sure Penn Hills also be working on some of their kinks, although they're on the better end right now of a 14-0 score.
Into the secondary right now for Penn Hills, Nick Brown, Eric Haddon, Justin Cole, Dwayne Thompson. Tack in motion. It's number 5. Nunes looking for the quick pass. It's to Wilson. He might throw the football again, but he's not. Wilson gets sticked by Ronnie Graham, who takes out the ball boy as well. He loses his wallet. The young lady on the sideline gives it back. So it's now 4th and a long way to go for Butler, with 5:59 to go here in the football game. Don't be surprised if Butler might try something here. They don't. Lucky to get the football away is the Butler Golden Tornado. The officials have blown the ball dead, but Butler picks up the football and runs it in for what they believe is a touchdown, but the officials have blown the ball dead and whistled it.
Well, Dave Korn grabbed the ball out of the air, and the coaching staff yelled at him to run, thinking there was a Penn Hills lineman who was down on the ground, but the ball did not hit him. If it did, that's an alert play, and you still have to give credit to the coaching staff because it came very close to the down lineman, but it did not hit him, obviously, because it took a true bounce, and it was Korn who downed it right there at the 47, and it was all for naught. But still an alert play, and when you're down 14-0, why not?
Now the question is, if the ball was batted, partially blocked, is it also still a live ball?
Not on a block. That's a touch of lineman downfield.
Double dive boot. Double dive boot. Double dive boot. Double dive boot wide open.
The Indians close to blocking that one.
Well, we talked about the Meinhardts and how they're not really being called, but both Jason and his brother Brian, Jason is really the only one who plays defense. They've stopped the inside. Penn Hills has had trouble running up the middle. It's off tackle, and a couple times they've ran to the outside that they've been very successful.
Greg Gilmer has come in on the tight end on the near side. Hoggy Livingston and Victor Strader. There's Victor Strader. Leonard Gilmer's going to throw the football. He's looking for Craig. He was wide open.
Two late
flags come in.
Two guys were wide open on the right side as Gilmer rolled out. Gilmer and both of the running backs come out of the back that were open on that play, and we'll see what the late penalties are.
Also seemed to be accused open downfield.
Ineligible downfield against the Indians.
So it looks like it's going to be an eligible receiver downfield call against the Penn Hills Indians. I don't know if we've seen a signal for it, but that's my...
That's what the call was.
Is that what it was?
It's 5 yards.
So
and it did not carry loss of down. I was wanted to question if it was a loss of down, but it did not. But the Indians are now 2nd and 15.
Back to the ground game go the Penn Hills Indians. It's Victor Strader who's lassoed by number 55, Bob Urey. And again, we haven't mentioned the names of Jason or Brian Meinhardt, which was a lot of the hype coming into this football game was about the Meinhardts. We have mentioned the names of Damon Gibson and Mike White.
Well, Jason plays inside linebacker, and Brian is just listed as a center, does not do a lot of playing.
He's also a defensive tackle, but I haven't seen him much on defense.
He doesn't play as much defense as his brother.
Everybody outside over here.
Again, it's Strader. Strader reading his blocks, gets up close to midfield, where he's brought down. We'll call it a pickup of 7, but it'll be 4th down for the Indians at midfield. Clock runs. We're under 4 minutes to go. 14-0 Penn Hills here in the 4th quarter.
And once again, close to midfield, a little bit further back this time, but another chance for Zakia to get the ball up in the air. Last time he did a great job. Penn Hills special teams downed it inside the Butler 10-yard line, and that's what they're going to want to do this time, although maybe since it's a little further back, you want to get Butler pinned back inside their own 20.
Dave Zakia, who's been impressive with kicking duties tonight, although he has missed a field goal, but it was a 27-yarder and didn't miss by much. But his kicking has been absolutely perfect tonight. Now, it's close to one or the other. Since the Penn Hills lineman clearly moved, but did Butler cross the line of scrimmage before that?
And the answer
in
is?
high school football, all you have to do is cross the line of scrimmage for it to be offsides. They don't give you the opportunity to get back. So Butler crosses over the football offsides, and then Penn Hills moves.
The answer is no.
No?
Your point is valid.
You know.
But it was the Penn Hills movement first that drew the Butler player offsides. And obviously, Butler with 10 men on line of scrimmage, they're trying to crawl back into the game with a punt block.
So we're going to try it again with Zakia. And Butler's coming again, and Zakia again gets the punt away. Wilson will take it at his own 21-yard line, looking for some running room. Gets away from Craig Gilmer. But this time he doesn't get away from number 69, Corey Connors, and number 23, Nick Brown, who formed the tornado sandwich.
Brown has done a nice job in the secondary, and Corey Connors has played both offensive and defensive line, and obviously some special teams got down there from his offensive line position there, and it made a nice tackle. Connors has done a nice
The
job.
Penn Hills Indian lineup have done very well tonight, but have also been very impressed defensively with the secondary coverage of Nick Brown, Eric Haddon, and Justin Cole.
And Cole filling in for Germany.
And Cole able to pick, also got an interception. Pass is complete to Corey Hurley here on the near side, picks up about 7-yard lines.
And they're running that split line, that student body lineup where they go with the unbalanced line. And this is the third time they're running it tonight. First 2 times it was worked for completion.
And the Indians call timeout.
Indians take a timeout, but I want to make an interesting point that the man who's centering the football is number 84, the tight end, Corey Hurley. In the unbalanced line, you check it out again, pay closer attention. He's the man who's caught both passes on the unbalanced line, and he's centering the football.
And the question is, although
is
the
he
answer
ineligible?
Obviously is, the question is he, if
but
he's,
I guess
if
with
he's
the
centering the football, is he eligible to be a receiver?
Is he? Oh, see, I opened up a can of worms up here in the press box, didn't I?
The Penn Hills coaches beside us are now debating the point.
But with,
whether or not the
do
center
they
is
count the
eligible
5?
receiver.
Do they count the 5 linemen? Because on that play, it was Hurley who centered the football, 84.
But doesn't there have to be so many linemen on each side of the center?
Yeah, there do, but they consider those linemen out there. But if he's the center, he's not eligible.
So
maybe he wasn't the center on the last play. But I know he was centering the football that time. And, of course, the point is now moot because they go back to the regular formation.
But perhaps if they do it again, we shall see. 2:37 to go in the football game. Butler needs some points, and they need them quickly. Adam Ward, not to be confused with Burt Ward of Batman, in motion. But J.T. Wilson, with a pickup on the near side, gets away from the tackle of Justin Cole. Picks up a few more yards. And Wilson looks like his bell has been rung.
Wilson's done a nice job catching the football.
Still in the football game. Now he wobbles to the near side.
Six catches and 93 yards for J.T. Wilson.
Nunes again looking to throw the football. Flags down everywhere. Tack with the reception, but he drops it. Nice stick on the far side of the football field. Dwayne Thompson does it offensively and defensively. And Damian Germany comes back in. Was Damian the one who made the stick?
No, Damian just came back in now. It was Thompson.
I've never seen the twos.
Pointing out that this is the first time Germany has saw action since he was got his right leg worked. Well, you see him rubbing it there and flexing it out on the field. Penalty was, I guess...
T-Rex is also into the football game. Number 37, Devon Morrell on the near side. So we'll see if we hear the roar of the T-Rex.
5-yard procedure penalty marked off against Butler, so for a motion penalty, and Penn Hills accepts it, pushing him even further back as they trail by 14.
Udell Mickens in the nose guard position. They try a draw play, and Bailey goes nowhere. He's brought down by White and Gibson, who are winning the battle of the Mineharts. So they've taken Devon Gibson out of the nose guard position. Now it is Corey Hurley at center. We'll see if they throw the football to him. But the question is the center an eligible receiver? And there he goes. He breaks out of the off. Well, the pass was completed or attempted for Ward.
Well,
but
I don't
Hurley
know.
come out, broke into a receiver.
Now the 5 linemen over here stayed on the line of scrimmage. So I do not know if he's an eligible receiver centering the football.
Well, the coaches say it's illegal.
He's centering the football. He can't get downfield. This isn't touch football.
You know, he centered the football.
He's centering it again.
Yeah, So he can do that? All right, now we get the word that he can do that. And there he is, Corey Hurley again. So with 1:44 to go, Butler is driving a bit. This is more or less, I think, dealing with stats.
They should continue. This formation is working. Hurley centers the football, goes down, turns around 5 yards. He's wide open. You need someone to cover that middle, the softness in the zone right there.
And there's nobody there. All he has to do is break again.
And there he is.
But this time they're throwing the ball up for Warren. The ball's picked off. That's Victor Strader on the far side of the football field looking for some blocks. A couple flags go down again. But the Indians get the football back with a minute and a half to go in the football game, and that should wrap things up.
So I'm telling you, Bill, count them 1, 2, 3. Fourth time was a charm this time for Victor Strader. 3 attempts at an interception earlier. This time he picks up the pass downfield. And my attention was actually on the tight end, Hurley. He was open once again. This time he had a little bit of pressure. He had to shake off a couple men, but he was open. If Nunes holds the ball, he hits Hurley again. Of course, trailing
the 15-yard line.
Trailing 14-0 with about a minute and a half left. He wanted to try to go further, deeper towards the end zone, but that play has worked and would have worked there if he would have thrown it to Hurley.
First down, and they do stop the clock on a first down.
So 1 timeout now for Butler. Only 1 remaining. That's the only time they can stop the clock defensively.
That's a goofy setup to begin with.
That's Bill. That's why they call it the muddle. Because it muddles everything up, including the announcing.
What would Vince Lombardi say?
Grab, grab, grab.
It's blocking and tackling. Eric Haddon goes from the defensive secondary to the offensive backfield.
So Zakia was the quarterback, and then he quickly...
Some of the cleaner jerseys are coming in.
Runs off to the sideline. You don't want to get him hurt.
Number 59 into the football game. Also John Davidson, number 43, a tight end. He's 6'1", 194, the senior. Randy Parker, the sophomore, now centering. He's number 51. Number 63, Eric Longo, the left tackle. Again, it's Zakia, quarterback, and Hoggy Livingston still into the football game. Number 64, Scott Caravlan. Anyone else we've missed? Try to make sure. Looks like we've cut everybody.
John Davidson in, number 43.
Davidson, Caravlan, Buderbaugh, Zakia in there. The younger Gilmer. John Davidson, 43, the tight end. We got everybody's name mentioned just as the clock runs out. That's the end of the football game. The Penn Hills Indians start off with the W. The final score from Butler High School Stadium. The Penn Hills Indians 14. The Butler Golden Tornado nothing. You're watching Penn Hills Indians football on Unreal Productions. Welcome to the first post-game show of the 1995 season. Unfortunately, Bob Orquist, it is a happy one because the Indians start the season with a victory. 2 touchdown runs tonight by Dwayne Thompson. The Penn Hills Indian defense gives up some yards, but they don't break. And the Indians not only walk away with a victory, but they also walk away with their first shutout of the season.
Well, unlike last year where mistakes cost the Penn Hills Indians in the opener at Andrew J. Uhas, tonight they come here, they play pretty much mistake-free football. The 2 touchdown runs, courtesy of Dwayne Thompson. An 18-yarder in the second quarter and a 6-yarder to give them the 14-0 lead in the third quarter. And the defense makes it hold up. They bend, but they don't break. They give up 154 yards passing to the Butler Golden Tornado, most of those courtesy of Troy Nunes. But they come up also with 3 interceptions and 5 turnovers on the evening.
It's interesting. Last year, the Indians give up 26 total yards to Butler and lose. This year, 170-plus, and they win. The key to tonight's game, Butler took the opening kickoff, held the ball for 9 minutes driving downfield, but the Indian defense holds, they take over, and I think that was the key of the game. The Butler, they had their offense going, but they couldn't score. Penn Hills turns around, they put the points on the board, and the defense takes over.
Well, Butler drove up to about the Penn Hills 20 before that drive stalled, and then in the second quarter, it's really where the game turned around. Penn Hills was able to take a nice punt return, and then a big run by Len Gilmer. They turn it into a touchdown, the 18-yarder by Thompson, and then they get a fumble in the very next series, and they drive down to the Butler 9. They're not able to score. They miss a field goal by Dave Zakia, but still, they took the momentum of the game right there. They were able to hold it. Butler did a nice job throwing the football, but they never really threatened, except for the one play before the interception by Damian Germany at the 6-yard line ended that Butler drive. Other than that, Butler really had no penetration.
So obviously the play of the game tonight for Penn Hills, Damian Germany's diving interception at the 6-yard line just before the half expires, keeping Butler Golden Tornado off the scoreboard. Or else it could be a whole different ballgame.
He's Johnny on the spot, turned around just at the right minute and picked that pass off. That was, again, on a trickery. It was a halfback option pass trying to hit Troy Nunes out of the backfield. Damian Germany with one of 3 Penn Hills interceptions.
Of course, we talked about the matchup tonight between the Mineharts and Damon Gibson and Mike White. We didn't mention the Mineharts barely at all tonight, except for asking where are they. But Gibson and White, they made some big plays tonight, so they won the battle of the big men.
Well, I think some adjustments by the Penn Hills coaches defensively, where they moved Gibson off from directly over the center to an angle, and they stunted in the line, and I think that turned it around. On that first drive, they were pretty much being beaten at the line of scrimmage, but those small adjustments really turned the tide, and 14-0 victory shows up for Penn Hills.
This has to give them a lot of confidence because next week they take on a traditional powerhouse, in the North Hills Indians, and you're not going to really see maybe too much passing next week, but they are going to see a lot of running in LeVar Arrington. How is the Penn Hills Indians defense going to stack up with that?
Well, I think Penn Hills welcomes that. I think they feel they're strong against the run, and with their secondary, they might be a little susceptible to the pass. We'll see how it turns out next week. You never can tell what a Jack McCurry coach team will do.
And certainly, if you want to see the opportunity for seeing someone make history, LeVar Arrington has the opportunity to become the first WPIAL rusher to rush for over 4,000 yards in a career. This may very well be his last appearance at Andrew Uhaw Stadium, barring any playoffs, because we will be at North Hills next season. So definitely come out Friday night to see Penn Hills and North Hills. Hopefully the Indians can go 2-0, work on building some confidence here in the non-conference games, getting into that tough Quad East schedule.
It will be interesting to see next week as the Indians take on the Indians.
Absolutely. Once again, for my broadcast partner, Bob Orquist, I'm Bill Navari, along with Kevin Burke, our cameraman and producer tonight.